This is United We Strike Radio on the International Community Radio Network. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why. UnitedWeStrike.com radio.
Live. So we are live now here, people. We have great guests here in the background already. We are live in Watford. Now, this is the United We Strike Radio Marathon. Maybe, Neil, you put your Skype on mute for the time being. Your mic, please.
Yep.
So we don't have the noises, the background noises for the time being. So we are in the United We Strike Radio Marathon, and we are actually on June 8th, 2013, now in our third hour, starting with our English part. But I still have lots of German-speaking listeners with me, so, you know, for the interesting parts of the interview, I would like to translate one or the other content of our interview. I have to add another contact here to our conversation. So we have everybody together. So let's see here. I have to find this first. Okay. So yeah, what we are actually having today is a specific transmission broadcasting here from the UK in the next couple of hours, and we try to get some input here from our people who are actually in Watford, close to the Bilderberger meeting, and I'm just checking here. I need to add somebody, which is which I have to do, and I have to find the I have to find the contact, and I have to send this first. So please stay tuned. I can add him here. More just a second. I have to add this one here. Okay, so let's see whether this works. Yeah, so what we are actually planning is a huge radio marathon today as well, and we've lots of guests and hosts coming up during the whole day. And one of our main topics, obviously, is to learn about things happening in the UK, in Watford. So, and I'll see. Let's see whether I can get them into here. Just a second. Yeah, it's always the technical issues, because I actually don't find them in my list currently. So let's see. I see. Just be patient for a second. Maybe I'll have a quick tune here, so we can. I can do this in the necessary time. So stay tuned. We'll listen to Jordan Page's "Listen." Right, I'm right back.
Listen to the sound that you hear, like it echo in your head. There's a strange vibration rising out from the heart of America, America. Listen to the sound of the drum calling players to the game of the new world order. Don't be caught unaware when the heads start rolling. Here, I know it wouldn't happen here. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm alive, I'm awake. This is more than I can take. If you had an open door, would you kill a little more? Listen to the cries of the dead in the wake of the Sudan. Is there no one out there? I see blood in the sands of despair in Africa. Listen to the sound of applause happen here. I know it wouldn't happen here. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm alive, I'm awake. This is more than I can take. If you had an open door, would you kill a little more? There's a war machine in motion, and the bullets fall as rain, and the light in the eyes of the innocent has faded.
Hi, Detlef here, and we've got Neil on the phone. Neil, go ahead, please.
Welcome to Reality Bites Radio and Sovereign Independent UK and the ukcolumn.org press tent here at Bilderberg in Watford, 2013. We've got a nice view of the side of the hotel down here, but we're at least half a mile from it. We've been penned into a field with metal barriers, and up by the hotel there's another metal barrier, a ring of steel as it were, surrounding the hotel. There are, I think, upwards of 200 police around the streets here, helicopter, and we have private security from G4S on the premises as well, who are after initially being quite aggressive and unhelpful, shall we say, have kind of mellowed a little bit, and they get to know the faces. But I think today's a bit different because there's a lot more people here today, and they've changed the G4S staff, so they don't actually know many of the people who've been coming and going, and who they've kind of got a bit of a rapport with. So we'll see how it goes. But we've got a list of guests today. We're going to try and keep nice, short, snappy interviews. But first up, we have Malcolm Massey from ukcolumn.org, who's been here since Thursday with the rest of us. Brian and Mike have to go back to Plymouth, but Malcolm's been left on his own. He's feeling a bit lonely, so we've taken him into the fold of Sovereign Independent UK. And here he is. Welcome to the broadcast, Malcolm.
Good afternoon. Yeah, indeed. Left here to do all the hard work, I suppose. But no, you're right. I think initially, I think there was a little bit of coldness coming from G4S, a little bit of friction, and I think over the course of the last few days, given the good nature of what's been going on, I think they're starting to relax a little bit and yeah, be a little bit more sort of less heavy-handed with people, which is good.
Yeah, for sure. And it has to be said, the police officers around here have been very helpful, friendly. There's been no problems with them at all, and we've all been working with them and liaising with them, and things are going pretty well. And so far, we've had one person jumped over the barrier and was basically just put back out in the street. He wasn't arrested or anything. And we had an incident this morning where there was a couple of lads in who, whether they were on drugs or maybe possibly some psychiatric problems or whatever, they were put out as well because they were acting quite aggressive. So, but apart from that, it's been all friendly, and everybody seems to be getting along well. A few differences of opinion here and there, but generally quite a friendly thing. But the sun has been shining for 3 days, which is unusual. This is what we call summer in Britain, and we've had it 3 times this year already: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I think we've probably had more than our fair share of the quota, I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think actually a point about the police is a really good one, right? Because these opportunities are very good, because the police they can't really go anywhere, so we can sit and we can talk with them, and we can actually find out what they think and what they feel. And I think for a lot of police coming here on Thursday, they didn't really know what was going on. They hadn't seemed to me like they hadn't been properly briefed about what was happening up at the Grove. They just knew that there was an event going on and that they were here to keep the peace. So that's obviously given us a great opportunity to explain to them what is actually happening in there, or the way we see what is happening in there. And I think a lot of the police now are coming around to realizing that they're kind of stuck in the middle and being used as pawns. I think pointing out to them that G4S is slowly taking all their jobs, and I think it's not unreasonable to imagine that over the course of probably the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a massive reduction in the duties that the police perform on our streets, and we're going to see those replaced by private corporations. I think one most notable recently was Masterton, which has been given the the right to carry out arrest warrants on the behalf of the Child Support Agency, or is it Child Protection Agency? I think it's the CSA. I'm pretty sure. I think that's a pretty big leap from the private sector, and I think the police are pretty aware that this is a slow privatization of their jobs, and they're going to be out of jobs if they don't start doing something soon. Another interesting thing to note really is the way in which the festival has kind of been carried out. I think from a policing perspective, I think it's been carried out very professionally. As I said, G4S is starting to warm. We're kind of on the lookout and the scout to see if there are any kind of maybe Asian provocateurs, as you would sort of expect in a sort of scenario like this. We're told that the tent that is basically being putting on the Fringe Festival have their own peace officers milling around, although they aren't actually marked, well, not that I can see, which kind of makes it a bit strange, because as a peace officer, you would expect them to be notable and marked so that if there was a disturbance of the peace, you could approach them. I haven't seen any indication that they have been marked so that we can actually see who they are, which, well, makes me a little bit kind of uneasy, really.
Yeah,
Well,
Rick, can you understand me?
Hello?
Yeah, Rick, can you understand me?
I can. I'm just, apologies for my voice at the moment. I'm just stood right at the very centre of pretty much the crowd. I'm just trying to source out our next guest.
Well, what we should discuss, I think, is the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper has been instrumental in, well, it's funded by the Scott Trust, who have been instrumental funding the Guardian, and the Guardian has been promoting the Leveson Commission, and they are involved in the Media Standards Trust, along with the Scott Trust, an attempt to control and gag the media. And of course, it's predominantly to gag the so-called alternative media, because we're actually the ones producing the news now. The mainstream media is finished, as far as I'm concerned. But it's interesting to note, we have two Guardian journalists here, a husband and wife, who are now controlling the media on the ground here in the so-called official press tent. Now, we've had them try to ambush a couple of our interviews over the last couple of days, you know, walking behind our guests, making loud noises and idiotic, childish behaviour like that. And the name of the lead protagonist, I would say, is a man called Charlie Skelton, who admitted yesterday his own newspaper column that he was working on behalf of the Bilderbergers. That was his own words, on behalf of the Bilderberg Group. So here we have the Guardian, who are instrumental in controlling the media in general terms, now on the ground in Watford at the Bilderberg conference, trying to control the media here. What would you say to that, Malcolm?
I think what I would say to that is it's a bit strange that you've got an organisation which is claiming to be here liaising on behalf of the Bilderberg group, while at the same time supposedly here to protest the Bilderberg group. I think that's a very awkward kind of position to be in, and it's a massive conflict of interest. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you were. Yeah, it's getting better,
contact.
but it's pretty busy here. I guess that's why.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think
yeah.
the problem is that there's a lot of people trying to stream here, so obviously the bandwidth is being choked up. So that could be why we're struggling to broadcast. Perhaps. Can you hear better now?
Yes, it is. It's much better now, and maybe you can say a few words to yourself for the audience who do not know you and what you're doing. So maybe you can do that.
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you a website.
Sure. Okay. Well, my name's Malcolm. I work for UK Column, which is www.ukcolumn.org. And what we do is we produce a newspaper, and we produce daily shows. We air on PSTV. We sometimes have our stuff aired on Orion Radio in America, and we also produce short documentaries as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And so just go ahead and Neil, whatever comes up.
Okay, well, as I say, we have the media being attempted to be controlled here by the Guardian newspaper, and it's very, very obvious. But I'm going to say this live on the air because it's a fact. Charlie Skelton, the columnist for the Guardian, who says he's working on behalf of the Bilderbergers, is a known pornographer, and he should be thrown out of this place by all and sundry who are actually here to do some genuine protesting. Because he is a Bilderberg shill, for want of a better word.
I think actually something I'd like to add which is really interesting, is we had a report come into our press tent that people who are on megaphones talking in one corner of the sort of festival are being moved down into a corner, which they're calling the Bilderberg Free Speech Corner, which is actually well out of the way of the festival, so that people can't actually really hear what those people are saying. I think that is actually quite curious, given that this organisation is claiming to be liaising on behalf of the Bilderberg Group, whilst at the same time claiming to be protesting against the Bilderberg Group. So, very strange behaviour, I think.
Well, that's actually sounds like Bilderberger have identified they have to take over the PR lead, otherwise it's getting out of control again. What do you think?
I think that would be a very good assessment as what is happening, because we have to remember that this festival came out of nowhere, literally a few weeks before the Bilderberg meeting was to take place. We don't know if they've got a license, because of course they're on private property. We don't know who's funding it. We don't know who's funding the boat rides, which are going across the river, which is getting closer to the Grove. We've been told that several thousands of pounds have been put up front, and that they're only asking for donations. So again, it's very curious as to where all this money has come from for people who are actually working in the alternative media from grassroots position. It's very difficult to actually get the funding. It's very difficult to put together something like this in such a short space of time, and yet these people with I don't know if they're backed by the Guardian or whatever, but they seem to be having a lot of money behind them.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Okay, Malcolm's left us now, and we're going to move on to, I would say, the premier exposer of child abuse in Britain today, Bill Maloney. Bill Maloney's been campaigning for child abuse for a very, very long time, and I'll let him actually tell his own story and how he got involved in this and what he's actually doing now. Is naming names. It's not for the faint-hearted, this Bill, and he names names and goes after these people in public. And he is, as I say, he has been exposing child abuse for a long, long time. Bill Maloney from Pie and Mash Films. Welcome to the Southern Independent Reality Bites UK video.
Well, this is getting a little bit technical here. I'm just being shown. Well, I've got to press buttons to do this and to do that to talk. Yeah, hello. My name's Bill Maloney, and I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I specialise in institutional paedophile rings that are operating in this country now and have been for a very long time. And the reason I'm at Bilderberg is because I believe that world politics is being controlled via through paedophilia, via blackmail. Politicians are being blackmailed, bankers are being blackmailed, etc., etc. People in high, powerful, predominant positions.
Yeah, and your recent expose involves Max Clifford and his
Max Clifford. There's a guy called Ben Fellows. Ben Fellows came forward.
And Ben Fellows will be on next, actually, right after Bill.
Oh, he's on next, is he? Oh, well, he can tell his story then. Where was we? Max Clifford was procuring children. He was sending them to Peter Stringfellows. They were giving cocaine. They was giving alcohol, and also, but at the end of these evenings, and they were taken to sex parties, and these were children from 13 years of age. And I doorstepped Max Clifford outside Westminster Magistrates Court on, I believe it was the 28th of this month, and I put those questions to him. The national media hid it. That is why the alternative media is so important to civilization, actually, because we're not sanitizing our stories. And what's happening is national media are trawling the internet, the alternative media, such as myself, Pie Mash Films, UK Column, David Icke, and they're finding out what we're all talking about, and then they're taking the stories and they're sanitizing them. So, and that's it. And at the moment in Bilderberg, we've got a guy called Kenneth Clark, and Kenneth Clark abused Ben Fellows. So I'm sure Ben will be talking to you more about that. But how's that? I'm going to be talking soon, so I don't want to be on this too long. But people know what I do. They can go into piemashfilms.com and you'll see all the films that we made. We've done investigations all over the place, and we're doing it in a way that has I don't believe has ever been done before.
Okay, Neil, just for everybody to know, we have a live stream, also a visual TV stream by Ustream from Rick, who's showing what is happening while you are interviewing people. This is to be found also on my page here, wakenews.net, on my blog site, mywakenews.wordpress.com, on our today's topic, and you can see all the pictures on there. And this is just a hint for our audience that they can also see what you're doing while watching the Ustream.
Yeah, well, Bill's actually left us now, and we have the gentleman he was talking about previously, Ben Fellows. So, Ben, just a brief intro to your story, and then what you're actually involved in now.
I'm the Olympics whistleblower from last year. It was the fact that I actually said about the Olympics that even though they had sort of missiles on roofs and basically, you know, snipers in trees, that the metal detectors were going to be switched off and the X-rays machines were going to be switched off, and so a terrorist could basically walk through. And so that's kind of my background of investigative journalism. And I happened to meet Kenneth Clark MP, and he groped me inappropriately in a lobbyist's office about 20 years ago when I was doing a story called Cash for Questions. And so I've made a complaint to the police, and they've just told me that the case can't be investigated and Kenneth Clark is above the law, along with a lot of other people who I gave them evidence of historic abuse that I had suffered at the hands of the media industry, because when Jimmy Savile's story broke, basically I said it's not just the BBC, it's the whole entertainment industry. And so it's not only the entertainment industry, it's...
You're breaking up a little here, so maybe it's the transmission which is difficult here, because everybody's simultaneously broadcasting information from just this one tower.
Hi there, Detlef. Hi there. Can you hear me okay, Detlef?
Yes, now I can hear you. I lost Neil and...
Yeah, that's okay. We're running 2 internet streams here at the moment, and what I'm doing currently is walking around looking for our next guest. Will I fix things?
Yeah, you're breaking up as well, Rick. Sort of.
We've got a slight issue with our bandwidth at the moment. I'm going to try and resolve it.
Okay, so let me take the opportunity and summarize so far what you've been talking about while you're working on your bandwidth. So give me a shout when things are getting better. So thanks for that information. I think they're doing a great job over there. Neil Foster from the Sovereign Independent, and other interviewed guests which we had on here from the UK column, and independent filmmakers and journalists who are reporting about their work. And unfortunately, we had a technical issue here because the bandwidth is limited. We remember we are live connected here with our colleagues and partners in the UK, in Watford, close to the Bilderberger Hotel, and there are lots of free and independent journalists and media working there, and using just one tower for the communication. And this is obviously a difficult issue, and probably it's now about getting time that everybody is broadcasting their show. So I'll summarize this for our German-speaking audience, which is still listening. Fine, wonderful. And they can use also our chat rooms on wakenews.net, Wake News Radio, on the United We Strike chat room, and Wake News Radio chat room. So Neil, are you on again?
Yep, I think we're back now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the bandwidth issue is solved for the moment. So
okay.
I was just sort of summarizing here for English and German-speaking audience. So Neil, why don't you continue with your work here live in Watford at the Bilderberger meeting in the Grove? Now,
Yep.
can you see the hotel from where you stand?
Well, I'm actually sitting in the tent at the moment, so I can't see it directly, but we can see the side of the hotel, which is possibly, if you went in a straight line as the crow flies, be half a mile away. That's how close we're allowed to get to it. But just to carry on with what Ben was saying, I think the last couple of sentences were cut off, so I'll let Ben continue his story, and then we'll kind of get to the end of our time here, and then we'll have to move on to somebody else. So we'll just get on with the interview at the moment.
Yeah,
Go on,
please
Ben.
go ahead.
Hello, Ben.
Hello. Yes, what I was saying was basically that I've made a police statement against Kenneth Clark MP about the groping that took place in Ian Greer's office back in 1994, which the police made me do, by the way. It wasn't my choice to make it. He hadn't sued me for the articles that I'd written. There was no flack or anything over that. He basically just said maybe it was mistaken identity. But what's happened is when the police has come back to me, and I videoed them, so this is up on YouTube, it's on the internet, people can look this up for themselves. They basically said, Kenneth Clark MP is above the law. He cannot be spoken to. There's lords that can't be spoken to. Actors can't be spoken to. Celebrities can't be spoken to. And I was a child actor. I have experience of how the child procurement operation worked for the industry. I wasn't abused or raped or anything like that. What I was basically, I was called the big flirt. So I was used to basically bring people in. But I was a child. I thought I was just inviting my friends to a party and things like that. So at the moment, what's happened to me is that over the past 7 days, I've basically been on the run from the British police because, as a journalist, I've been hounded for telling my story. I wrote a letter to the IPCC complaining about the treatment I had with the police. I got an email back saying, well, now the investigation's reopened and they can't do anything. So hopefully what I'm hoping for is that the police will take my statement seriously and will basically just ask Ken Clark for a statement about my accusations, which are very serious indeed, and I want to give him a chance to exonerate himself so that we can all move on from this, or perhaps go to court and I will stand there and tell my story that way. But this just shows you the pressure that people are under. I'm able to talk about my story. Many others aren't, and it's really upsetting to me, to Bill Maloney, and to many other people that people are forced into silence by the establishment, and it isn't right. It's not fair. The police do what they call basically a demoralization exercise on you, because when you've complained about historical child abuse to the police and you're not believed or it's not taken forward, they basically say, well, that's it, and you won't ever complain again. So these people are living their lives in misery and they're committing suicide, and their families are breaking up. So I can talk about this story. I will keep on talking about this story. I am not depressed. I'm not suicidal in any way. And if I trip down a step, just think, and I die, it's not an accident. It was murder. And, so look, thanks for everything. And it's been a pleasure talking to you all.
Well, I mean, you can still go on a little bit longer, Ben. We've got another 5 minutes or so. But
Cool.
yeah, I concur completely. If I fall down the stairs as well, I was pushed. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, what are your plans for the future? Like,
Yeah, we lost you again.
circus. This is live. This is live. No, come.
Okay, so we are sort of having a difficult connection again here.
Apologies
So-
for that. We should
Okay.
be coming back in now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me, Caleb?
Yeah, now it's back again. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, cool.
continue, please.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah. Just
Okay.
Ben, in summary, what are your proposed? So Ben can't actually hear us at the moment. Just bear with us. I mean, Ben has had rather a harrowing week, shall we say? As they said, he's been on the run from the British police, and we're having a connection problem again. That's the problems of doing
Yeah.
live radio, I suppose. But
Here you go,
no,
Ben.
we've got Ben now. Just to summarise, what you're going to do from now on. I mean, obviously you're going to keep pushing this stuff, and try to expose as much as possible.
Right. So, yeah, can Ben talk now, or is he not
We
available?
don't have Ben at the moment. So he's still here, but we
okay.
don't.
Okay.
Apologies. Hang on. Here you go. I'll put Ben on now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. So
Right,
in the
can you hear me?
meantime, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Neil,
brilliant.
Neil, what is your impression? I mean, how many people are around there on the space here where you are?
They said there was going to be 1,000 people let in today. But one second, I'm just getting an update here. Okay, we're going up to 1,400 at the moment, but we're penned into a space that yesterday we only had 500 people in, so it's getting rather crowded. And no more than 1,400 are going to be allowed in. But of course, we have the likes of David Icke and Alex Jones turning up to speak later. So I would imagine that is going to cause some problem when large crowds turn up to hear these people speak. But
Oh, absolutely.
there are a lot of people out in the main street at the moment queuing around the corner, which the police said they wouldn't allow to happen. So I certainly see problems.
So for
along the line.
international,
It's a very hot day here. There's no shade whatsoever. That's what happens. And we'll just finish up with Ben, who's going to head off, and we'll go to our next guest.
Yeah, thanks ever so much. I suppose this week has been absolutely harrowing in a way. So I've been dashing all over the country to come to Bilderberg to try and make this as public as possible. So that's what we're about, really. And so hopefully, I don't have a home anymore. My wife is being hounded by the police. So it's really about getting the story out. Yeah, and so if I get the story out, then I feel that I'm protected, which is the main thing, really, because Kenneth Clark has to be spoken to by the police. I've made serious allegations against him, and so he needs the right of reply, quite frankly, if nothing else. I can't see the problem. The police need to do their job, and as long as they do their job, then I will be satisfied. I'm not asking him to be arrested. I'm saying I've made a formal allegations. I've done a 15-page statement. It took 8 hours to do it. And so, therefore, he needs to actually be spoken to. If there's protocols to have to jump through, that's so be it,
Okay. That's Ben. He's going to head off now. Sorry about the technical problems, but that's the problems of live streaming. We have a lot of people outside making a lot of noise as well. And we'll move on to our next guest as soon as we can get him on the chair, as it were.
we had Ben here. He's now left us. And are you presenting another interview guest right now? Neil, can you switch on your mic? Can you hear us?
Hi, that's okay. Hi, we're just working in the background here to do a little reshuffling. So
Okay, fine. So I'll just summarize here.
what we're going to be. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. And what is about the live stream, the TV stream at your Ustream? Is this working, Rick?
Unfortunately, no, we don't have the bandwidth. If I was to do the Ustream, then we probably would be able to.
Okay. I let the people know. Okay, continue, and I'll just summarize here during our live show here during our United We Strike Radio Marathon, June 8th, 2013. We are in the third hour of our today's marathon, and this is Detlef of Wake News Radio from Switzerland producing this part of the show, and we are connected live here to our partners in Great Britain, in England, in Watford, close to London, where the Bilderberger meeting is taking place, and the location where they are broadcasting from is limited in terms of bandwidth, and it's about half an English mile away from the hotel, but they can see actually the side of the hotel from their point of view. And they are trying to get their technical issues solved and quick. Okay, so for international and English-speaking audience, we had the plan to show the live stream via TV live stream, but this is unfortunately not working due to limited bandwidth. So but nevertheless, we will have videos coming up from the event later on. Once they are back in the studio, they will cut the videos and we will upload them to our channel so everybody can be part of this. And we will also have our today's interview being shown on the videos, certainly. Okay, so we are trying to give you an impression on what is really going on in the midst of the of the bunker of the Lion. In close to London, where all the banksters are and politicians and bloodlines are meeting in order to discuss what they are planning to put upon us as a next step. And part of our United We Strike Radio Marathon today is actually talking about this. As we know, we have already the answers for everybody. We can only do something in order to prevent this happening if we are, doing the right things ourselves. So we don't have to suffer under those means of the DIMS, the dominant insane minority, as I call the elites. And we have a message here with United We Strike. We say, don't buy from globalists, don't put your money into banks, don't take insurances from the globalists, which you don't need. Don't comply, don't just do whatever they tell you to do. You have to take into consideration civil disobedience wherever it is suitable and doesn't harm you and others. But we have to resist the system. And the other thing, which is also very important, ask why. So pose your questions to authorities, to those who think they can rule over you. So ask them why they're doing this, what for, and what the reasons are, and what their intentions are by doing this. And we can only change the world if we start changing ourselves. We have to be and become conscious, and from that point of view, we can actually, become active. And we just listened to one of the most attended Bilderberger meetings ever, I guess. I think I never heard about so many attendants, if the information is correct, that over 1,400 people are actually already, on the location in Watford. So if that is true, I mean, it is just starting. They are an hour ahead of us. So in Central Europe, we have it's getting close to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and in Great Britain it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and there will be some speakers coming up. One of them, who is being expected, will be David Icke. So there will be lots of people coming up to listen to him. And this is going to be pretty crowded. And we learned before that there are about 200 policemen active around the hotel, the Grove Hotel, the luxury hotel in Watford, and that there's a crowd of special police, a GF4, I think it's called, who are acting not as polite and human as the police. They are more brutal towards the audience, and it is expected that these forces actually are soon replacing the regular police, and this is this is a fair end of the people that this is taking place in the UK. So we'll see what's going to happen. And one of the journalists we had on early on in the interview was actually telling us that most of the police which came in for their duty today was actually they were not really properly briefed in what they were doing and what they were working for and they were protecting, because most of the people, even in the services of states and governments, they don't really know what they're being abused for. So let's see. All right. So please, we can stay in English now. Please go ahead. It's your turn, Neil.
Hi, Detlev. Sorry, we really have a very tight schedule here today. We've got a lot of guests to go on, so we can't waste any time repeating things. I've got Patrick Lynch of Free Truth Radio on, who I was happy to learn this week is the regarded as the premier researcher on chemtrails in the UK now, and we're happy to have Patrick on air here today. You just want to give us a brief intro to yourself, Patrick, and how you got involved in the whole chemtrail issue and the whole New World Order issue, as you understand it today.
Hi, Neil. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I wouldn't say I'm the premier researcher on chemtrails, but just to clear it up, apparently unfortunately I'm known as the leading campaigner of chemtrails in England and Scotland and Wales. Because I don't recognise the UK. It's a globalist invention. So I get on with the chemtrails and just to inspire and try to inspire and people to raise as much awareness of this as possible, as the press and the government are complicit in the cover-up and won't address it. So as I realise we're on our own as far as that's concerned, raising awareness, etc. So that's the only tool we have in our toolbox to try and end these chemtrails, is to raise as much awareness as possible, and hopefully a critical mass of people will emerge to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a perfectly clear day here on Thursday. There was not one trail in the sky whatsoever. It's the bluest sky I've seen in a long, long time here. They did actually start spraying yesterday, but today I don't really see anything going on today. And over the past 2 weeks, myself included, my voice and my throat is gone. I know people from the other side of the country who have the same thing, up north in Scotland as well. All happened in the same week, and with no contact whatsoever between us. So it's not like it's a contagious thing. It just happened virtually overnight. And I've had this now for well over a week. And I mean, Patrick, you talk a lot about the health implications on people of this, and it particularly manifests itself in seemingly colds and flus and supposedly minor ailments, but we have no idea what these chemicals are doing to our bodies. We suffer a sore throat and a runny nose, but we don't actually know what the true consequences of these are.
Yeah. Next, is your guest answering here?
One second, we can't hear Patrick, no.
Okay.
Wait, 1 second.
Yep.
Oh, you pressed. I think we're on. Wait, you've got that now. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Mute. Yeah. There has been a lot of research and development gone into exposing what the health effects are. We do have crucial evidence of the health effects of it through the work of Clifford Carnicom at carnicominstitute.org. Independent lab analysis and test results have revealed that there's huge amounts of aluminium in our systems, in our hair, in our bodies, which is very difficult to remove because it goes through the blood-brain barrier and lodges in the brain, which is why Alzheimer's and short-term memory loss is on the rise, which is why asthma is through the roof. The fibers associated with so-called Morgellons disease, which is not a disease, it's a result of chemical and biological weapons being sprayed on us from aircraft. It's very clear from that evidence and many other water samples, soil samples, air samples, that the alkalinity in the soil, for example, is increasing with the aluminium content and the barium salts. And there was an ambulance driver, Jam Noise, spoke to Jam Noise is a campaigner on YouTube, Jam Noise 77, I think it is, and she spoke to an ambulance driver, and he's noticed himself that the amount of young toddlers coming in, young children coming in with breathing difficulties on certain days when they were spraying heavily was numerous. So apart from that, fairly kind of corroborative evidence of people talking and observing what they've seen with the health. There was a vast amount of knowledge of what it's doing to people and documented evidence of the skin conditions and the fibers that are poking through people's skin. And when they spit it out with a red wine test, the fibers are moving. And some of them are fluorescent when they're examined under the microscope. The health effects are enormous. This is alert. We're in desperate danger now. That's the biggest crime going on at the moment, the biggest environmental threat to our system and the water systems and the earth systems of this planet. It's humanicide, actually. They know it's going on. It's depopulation, in my opinion. If you want to know.
Yeah, and where are the environmentalists in this? We don't hear anything from the people who advocate, protect the environment. We don't hear anything from the global warming, CO2, lunatics who think that if we wipe out CO2 tomorrow, everything will be just fine. Well, it won't be. That all these trees, grass, the food supply, everything will be destroyed, including themselves. This is how insane the whole climate change argument is. And the fact that they're allegedly talking about spraying the atmosphere with toxic chemicals to cool down the planet when it's never warmed in 16, 17 years at the moment, and it continues to get colder. We have upwards of 10,000 pensioners in Britain today dying of hypothermia every winter, at least. In March this year, we had 5,000 extra die alone in 1 month in this country. Yet our politicians continue to spend billions on windmills, etc., to mitigate climate change, which just is not happening. So there is no other reason, in my opinion, of spraying the skies with toxic chemicals than to wipe out humanity, nature, everything. These people are nihilistic in their intentions and genocidal, and we really have to start getting a grip of this issue and make our politicians and these people understand that if they don't actually wake up and smell the coffee, as it were, then they're going to die, their families are going to die, their children, their grandchildren. And if they don't do something about it, then we have to do something about it. And that's why we're here today to try to encourage other people to take notice of this subject, because you can possibly control the water you drink, you can possibly control the food you eat, but you cannot control the air you breathe. And without clean, fresh air to breathe, we're doomed. This planet is doomed. Sorry to be so negative, but I mean that's the seriousness of the situation that we're in today. Would you agree, Patrick, or would you say it's even worse?
Well, it's usually worse than we are ever able to say or get to people the idea of. But whatever we try and say and educate people as to how bad it is, it's usually worse. It's difficult to enunciate how bad it is. We're not fear-mongering. If a truck was coming down the road and I shouted at you because I needed you to get out of the way of the truck, so I didn't have time to save you or something, you would appreciate it. I'm not fear-mongering. There's a truck coming, You're not going to turn around to me and say, stop that, you're scaremongering me, I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling people the facts. I'm warning people of what's going on so they can protect themselves from the health effects of it. If they're not taking the vaccines and they want to stay healthy, there's other things you can do too, like not go out when it's heavily spraying. And people would say, well, why let these globalists dominate my life and alter my routine? Well, you've got to stay inside. It's a chemical, basically, a chemical fallout. It's the equivalent of nuclear fallout. It's the same as if I put a shovel full of dust, and on your dinner plate and made you eat it in one session. It's after a good few months of being exposed to these chemtrails on a heavy basis, especially in England, we're back here, then you may as well eat a shovel full of dust.
Yeah, and that basically says it all. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to eat a shovel full of dust. So, I mean, why would we put up with them spraying the skies? Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. That's a pleasure.
I have a YouTube channel, Free Truth Show, on YouTube with all my facts. And if anyone wants to give me a chance to do a talk, a presentation, I do that too. There's Free Truth Show YouTube or Facebook. You can contact me through that, or freetruthshow@hotmail.co.uk. Please help us to get the word out, spread the word about this. We need help. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Patrick. Thank you very much. Cheers. Yeah. Now we're going international at the moment. We're going to bring in the Swedish Freedom Party, and we have Bo on the air. We'll move on quickly because we're kind of keeping to a tight schedule. Rick, nothing. We've got.
Just a second.
Oh, we're back. Yeah. Okay. It's gone again. Oh, pleasure. Okay.
So you are pulling in now your next guest, Neil, who is from the Swedish Freedom Party. Is that correct?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can hear you?
Is this live?
Yeah, we are live.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay. Yes, we have Bo from the Swedish Freedom Party. I'll let Bo go ahead and tell you all about that as he introduces the party and what they actually stand for. Bo, welcome to Reality Bites Radio. Tell us all about the Swedish Freedom Party.
Yes, we can't hear
Can
you.
you hear,
No.
Bo?
No.
No. One second. Just sorry, listeners. I just have to bear with us at the moment. We're just swapping over headphones and things here.
Yeah.
We'll try this now. There, Bo?
No, I hear you.
Okay, here we are.
You've gotten there. Okay. When you're not just
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil, for having me here. I am the founder of the Swedish Free Party, and we founded this party in February this year, and we are growing fast with the help of social media such as Facebook and Twitter, etc. And we are now here opposing the Bilderberg Group. We are the only Swedish political party opposing the Bilderberg Group, so it makes us quite unique.
Okay, I think we can bring in Daniel as well, who's another member of the Swedish Freedom Party. How did you get involved in this movement?
It all started with like a movement. It started like a movement. The Freedom Force International, and we have the same thing in Sweden called the Freedom Force Sweden. And it's all about an ideology. How do you say? Ideology? Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah.
Ideology.
Yeah. And it's all about freedom. And then Bo and a guy called Peter Storm were creating this party in February, and I was one of the first to join. So. And that's how it all started. And it's built on freedom, and it's built on everything that the government having now that we are against almost. Yeah. So.
Okay, Bo, could you explain exactly what the ideology is and what you hope to achieve through this?
Yeah, we are a non-collectivistic party. We are for the rights of each individual against the big corporations and the corrupt banks who issue money out of thin air, and we want to ban fractional reserve banking, and we want to exit the EU, the European Union, as soon as possible. And for example, we want to ban GMO. We are against the illegal wars that Sweden participates in right now in Afghanistan and other countries. We want to withdraw the Swedish troops from abroad. Because they are right now, guarding the opium fields in Afghanistan. And if those fields were to be shut down or burnt down, Wall Street would collapse for sure. But we have a big program, and these are just the main issues that we have. And we want to, decentralize power, to have the people closer to the power at their municipality level, to be able to influence the society.
How many members do you have at the moment?
We're about 775, growing quite rapidly. Especially right now when we are here in Bilderberg, we have received many applications from new members. They didn't know that we existed because the Swedish mainstream media doesn't report at all about our existence. And the reason why they don't write about us is quite obvious, because we are against the whole system that they have been building up for all these centuries, where the small man is, he's just a piece of, he's a consumer in all this that we see around, and we're against it. We want everyone to be free. We want everyone to be able to homeschool their children. We want them to have, the right to do whatever they want, more or less. Daniel.
Yeah. And most we are against. At first, we are against the European Union, since it's just getting all the countries in the European Union in trouble. So. When we have left the European Union, we have to do something about the fractional reserve banking. since I believe here in UK they have the same kind of parties. For example, they have the UK Independent, and we have almost the same party in Sweden called the Swedish Democrats. And yeah, it's like controlled opposition, I think, because they are scratching above the problems. They're not digging into it. So with the fractional, they have having all this question about immigrants and stuff, and they are not digging into the real problem, because the real problem is that we need immigrants, otherwise the bank system would collapse. So you need to fix the bank system before you can do anything about the immigrants, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we have the UKIP, UKIP Independence Party here, and they would say the same thing, and they actually come out and say that we should give more control to the City of London and the Bank of England. And I've spoken to these people and say, well, who do you think's running the show now? Because it is the City of London and the Bank of England, and look at the mess we're in. And so, as Daniel said, the controlled opposition speaking out on the populist issues, if you like, and blaming immigrants for the problems and blaming other factors for the problems, when the problem is the banking system itself and the policies which are being created to conform to that banking system, as in mass immigration and things like that, under the guise of multiculturalism or whatever. Now, I mean, to say that, we'd be called racists here in this country. But I have many Muslim friends. I work for Muslims, I work for Africans, Chinese, it doesn't matter to me. And the problem isn't the immigrants, it's the policies that have been created to create problems in the future when the jobs are going else. Actually, it's ironic that the jobs are actually going to the countries where the immigrants have come from in the first place a lot of times. And the problem is that then there's more unemployment between all the groups, and the whole problem is exacerbated by the mainstream media, who wants all these groups fighting against each other to disguise the real problem, which is the banking system and the government itself. Is that similar to Sweden?
Yeah.
I think we've got him back now with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's it's a way to make an inner conflict inside any country, just to get the focus away from the real problems, and that's what they're doing with everything. If you're talking about food, it's always a problem that people are starving and blah blah blah. But the real problem isn't that, because they are putting in laws that almost destroying all the farmers. They have no chance of growing their own things, and then they set in these GMO things just to tell people that now everyone can have food if we're doing with this gene modified crap, and the media won't ever report anything about this, how people and the bodies are reacting to the GMO, because no one knows. Actually, it's more about the roundups, they're using spraying on the plants. That we know is dangerous, but the GMO, maybe in 30, 50 years, we know for sure if it's really dangerous or not. But by then, not no other biologic plants will exist. So, yeah.
Well, do you have the same policies in Sweden whereby the farmers are paid not to grow food?
What?
In Britain and Ireland and other European countries and America, the farmers are paid not to grow food.
Yeah.
And then people will say there's a food shortage. Well, pay the farmers to grow food.
Yeah.
Not the opposite.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yes. And we have, I think we discussed this yesterday, the whole value-added tax, the VAT system, was brought in so that they could pay farmers not to grow food. Which is, anybody with something between their ears would understand that is lunacy.
Yeah,
absolute lunacy.
And the weird part is that people still don't understand.
And it's not just in Britain, it's not just in Sweden, it's all across the world. They're all confused and with nice language by the politicians to make them feel that this is a good thing. Oh, do this, it'll be safe, it'll be secure, you'll have better food, you'll have better water, we'll privatise everything and everything will be fine and dandy. But when you can't afford the prices of all that privatised water, that privatised food supply, privatised electricity, then you starve or you freeze to death. That's the consequences of these actions, and that's manifesting itself in this country this winter, with thousands and thousands of old people dying in their own homes because they can't heat heat on. I mean, Sweden must be worse because it's far colder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
One more thing I would like to add about the military. In Sweden right now, the military is, they can use the military against the people. And back in 1931, there was an uprising with people, saying their opinion, and they used the military against the citizens. But the first thing we want to do when we get in parliament in the future is to, write a new constitution protecting the people and prohibiting this forever happening again. Because we see a police state emerging fast with the help of those controlled opposition parties.
Yeah, well, I mean, we actually did a video. Sorry, excuse me. That's the chemtrail cough coming in. We did a longer interview with Bo and Daniel and a couple of the colleagues. One gentleman from Denmark who lives in Sweden, and the lady, I can't remember her name. Sorry, Natasha. No. Oh, okay. But yeah, that'll be available on YouTube eventually, and we kind of go into a bit more detail, but we're a bit short of time at the moment, so I'll say thanks very much to Bo and thanks very much to Daniel.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Neil, you can continue, please.
Okay. Well, we've just got a moment while we swap over headphones and computers and
All right.
whatever else Rick needs to do. He's buzzing about in the background, moving chairs now, and
yeah. Who's speaking actually? Are those famous speakers, or are just people who are giving a?
The last speakers are the ones coming in now.
No, the in the background, the noises.
The background. That's just people around the tent, on the outside of the tent.
Okay.
There's the so-called Fringe Festival have speakers and things like that, which I don't see the reason for a festival. There's nothing to celebrate with Bilderberger, but we did discuss that earlier with the controlled media and stuff that's here, who are basically making this into a circus, complete with fancy dress and all the rest of it. They even had a beauty pageant yesterday for women, which I thought was pathetic, really. But here we are. We're back with Jane. I've not got a second name, but and another lady who I've never seen before, so I don't know who you are. But
I'm Helen. I travelled over from Ireland.
Okay.
And you're Jane?
I'm Jane from Tax Free 15.
Okay.
Hi, Jane. Hi, Jane.
Okay, I suppose we better start with Jane because he seems the most popular person in the tent right now. So on you go, Jane.
Yeah.
This is my third day at Bilderberg, and there's good things about it and there's bad things about it. And I would say the good things were the fact that it's been sunny for 3 whole days, which is quite unusual in England. And we have a crowd here. Now, about 4 years ago at Athens, there was about a dozen people. Now there's got to be over 1,000 easily. And there are people trying to get in who are struggling to get in through the door. There's a fantastic atmosphere here, and we're really rocking the boat. But we've got to say there's some bad things, and the bad things are the fact that we have not been allowed to stand out on the street where the public can see us. We've been herded into what is like a glorified sheep pen, and we are... nobody's really seeing us. It's more like a festival rather than a demonstration. But there are good things about that. We're networking and we are connecting and finding out information, which gives us the energy to go back and promote it more. And the press are at long last paying attention to us. But we did have a little incident earlier on where a lot of people were not allowed to come into the event, and I've got Helen, who's my new best friend. She's come over from Ireland, and she had some personal experience about this.
Yeah, that's right, Jane. I heard just little rumours that people were stopped from coming in, so I had to make it my business and find out. So I went up, and people were kind of jeering, telling the police to let him in. But I'm not the type that jeers. I like to just go and ask what's the problem. So I went up to the guard and asked him why they weren't allowing people in. And he said, I said, you can't do that. And he said, we can. I said, no, you can't. He said, it's private property. I said, it's given to us for the weekend as a public meeting place. And he said, well, it's not our problem, it's G4. So then I went to G4, who are the security, and I said, the policeman just said that you're stopping people from coming in. He says, I know nothing about it. I said, well, the policeman has just transferred his problem to you.
Well, actually, I mean, I've been liaising with the police now for nearly 3 weeks, and right from the offset, I said that this would not be enough room for the people that were coming here, and obviously it isn't. I mean, we need at least twice this area, if not 3 or 4 times this area to keep people in here safely. But of course, we shouldn't be in here at all. We should be out in the streets. We should be allowed to protest wherever we want. But of course, once you start using the word protest, then you're confined by legal restraints to, you can only protest where you're told you can protest in this country. You have to be at a designated place at a designated time, and that's the words they're using. That's why nobody should call themselves protesters. We should be here to complain.
Yes, Neil, I'm just learning that because I've never been to something.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little
like
here.
this in my life. I've started researching what's going on in the world in the last 6 months. And okay, am I okay now? 1, 2, 3. The problem is using the word protest, like you said, Neil, is we need to eliminate that word from our meeting place, our gathering, and therefore we need to smarten up. We need to be as smart as the people on the hill who are deceiving 5 billion people in the world through their politics and bringing people into seduction. A handful of people, a minority, are actually deciding on policies that causes poverty to billions, actually 5 billion in the world of people. So we need to get more strategic. Jane, what do you think?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Helen. You know, the fact that those people are up there on the hill, and somebody was saying they put it as that's the castle on the hill and we're the peasants, and that isn't that just it? These people have put themselves in this position of power, and we have no democracy, no say, and they are all there. They're deciding the fate of us all with no accountability.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, but we've got a bit of a delay coming through, so I have to wait till Jane actually starts speaking. It's maybe 5 seconds later I can come in. But anyway, we're getting around that. But yeah, we're going to actually have a police officer up next, the liaison officer, so we'll get his take on it as well. But we certainly have been penned in like animals, really.
Yeah.
But and yes, you're right. These people are sitting up their ivory towers, and they must be looking down at us, just laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to say the one amusing thing of the last few days was, can I just describe the place? We're stuck just inside the road in this sheep pen, and in front of us there's this long rolling drive up over a canal with fields in front with policemen and G4 security, and going way up to this so-called castle on the hill, which is surrounded by a ring of steel. I don't know how they think we're going to get over there to get up to the ring of steel, but an amusing little event yesterday was when all of a sudden we heard the bullhorn from the canal under the bridge, and there was Alex Jones chugging along on a barge going round the canal, and the police went mad. They jumped into their vehicles and went rushing off down the fields trying to do something about it. So that was about as near as anyone got.
Yeah, and we had the same thing today. We've had other people out on barges, and we actually we can hear Mark Anderson in the background, but he'll be on later. He can tell us all about that. So back to again. Sorry about the chemtrail cough, but back to our guest from Holland or Ireland. I'm not sure where you're from.
Ireland.
You're from Ireland. I've got the accent. I used to live there myself. So yeah, I mean in Ireland. At the trilateral commission back in 2010, there was none of the security, and some of the same people at that meeting there were in Ireland in 2010, and you could actually get into the hotel. You know, it wasn't a problem. But this is just it's police state stuff, really. And in terms of the amount of police that are actually here, and there's a lot of concern amongst local taxpayers of the costs of all this. You know, to the local taxpayer, they're going to have to fund multi-billionaires sitting in their castle on top of a hill because they're scared, because they're a bit scared of some people who just want to get on with their lives in peace. That's what they're scared of. I mean, they are the ultimate cowards because they can't do anything openly. They can't actually come down here and tell us exactly what they want to do with our lives. They've got to hide in a corner. I think we've lost connection here. Where's Rick? Yeah, it's gone. Is it still on? We can still hear it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have a collection of cowards up on the hill, looking down at us and putting a big ring of steel and thinking, I hope they don't get over there because we know they'll hang us from lampposts or something. But it's just bizarre, quite bizarre. I don't know who's more penned in, is it us or them? At least we can go home to our homes tonight and or go out for a drink and peace and quiet mingle with people we've never met before. But they're stuck on the hill with their fence around them, have them all penned in. They're living in fear as well, and we should keep them living in fear. More and more so. Everywhere they go, we should be stalking these people, literally, and making sure they have to stay in their ivory towers and they continue to do their dirty deeds in the dark, because they are not going to be transparent. They'll never be transparent. Anything they say will be a lie, because that's all they've ever done. It's all they ever know how to do.
But Neil, isn't it that they have imprisoned themselves, sort of?
That's exactly what I'm saying. They have imprisoned themselves because, as Jane mentioned, they have a metal barrier all the way around the hotel. I mean, we have no chance of getting there. It's half a mile away. I don't know what they're expecting, but they have a ring of steel around the hotel, and then they have another ring of steel around us. It's like a show jumping course. There's fences everywhere. But there are police horses, so maybe that's lower the fence a little bit for the horses. They might be okay. I think the horses are quite friendly as well, by the way. But yeah, back. Oh, there's apparently space hoppers here. And, well, I think there's a few space cadets here as well, but never mind them. So we go back to Jane just to round up, and we need to move on to our next guest. How would you round up the whole? I hate to call it atmosphere because this is a circus to me. This thing that's going on over there.
Well, I would think it's a very good atmosphere, but the fact that this number of people are here in one place today promoting what am I trying to say? Sort of showing what Bilderberg's about, and people have travelled from all over. You just had someone from Sweden and was it Germany, Switzerland, Holland. There are people from all over Europe. The fact that they've all travelled here and they are all prepared to just get here and highlight this event, I think is fantastic, and I think it bodes well for the future.
So, hopefully this continues to next year's meeting and wherever that may be.
Oh,
and, you want one final word?
Just first of all, thanks, Neil, and well done on your coverage. And there's also bringing truth within the truth, because sometimes there's a lot of other things that can happen within truths like this. But we need to kind of remember why we are here, that it isn't a party. This is an awakening, not just for us. What we get here, we have to bring back to our communities, to our friends, and to wake people up. Like, I have to go back to Ireland and awake as many people as I can without being seen as a kook, educate myself on the topic. And people like yourself, Neil, and radio stations like yourself continue to do a great job. I think I've lost my connection again.
No, you're fine there. I'm sorry. We're getting a bit of disturbance from Mark Anderson of the American Free Press, who's just crawling under the table, messing about with cables. But we'll have him on the radio later on. Thanks very much, ladies, for your help. And if we get Rick over to take some computer equipment from our ladies. And we'll get our next guest on, who's Steve Lee, the police liaison officer, who we've been working closely with over the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And just give us 1 minute, Detlef. If you want to carry on from there, we'll get sorted out over here. We'll be ready in 2 minutes.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Neil. And he's pulling in some new interview guests and also somebody from the police. So whenever you're ready, just get her in. And the other thing which we should mention, Jane's website. Can you? She's already gone, huh? Right?
One second. Jane's still here. Jane, what's your website? Yeah. She can't remember. Anyway,
isn't it tax-free 15 UK or something?
Tax-free 15.blogspot. If you put in tax-free 15, you'll find it. Okay? Right, no problem. Now, moving swiftly along, as they say, we have Steve Lee, the police liaison officer, who I met a few weeks ago, and I would suggest we've had a good relationship so far. It feels like I feel like I'm a new brother. But anyway, yeah, sure. So yeah, Steve, I want to ask how you got involved in this job. So that's a position you've been given, and that's the position you're in. But I mean, from the outset, what was your? Did you actually look into what the Bilderberg Group was? Do a bit of research yourself to try and get some understanding of the people who've been coming along?
Absolutely, Neil. And can I first say it's been a pleasure working with you anyway. Whenever I get involved in trying to sort out any kind of campaign or help working with campaigners, I think it's only appropriate to try and find out a bit about their cause and what they're campaigning about, to pay them the respect necessary to understand what obviously their issues are. Yes. So yes, I do know a little bit about the Bilderberg Group. Yeah.
I'm probably not wise to ask you your thoughts on that, because I understand you can't really go into that kind of thing. But how have you found the people so far?
The atmosphere here has been absolutely fantastic. People have been friendly. People have been very, very reasonable, and I think it's been a big success for everyone involved. And the campaigners that such as yourself, Neil, that are involved and organised it should be very proud of what they've achieved here today.
Well, I've not organised much except this little humble tent we're in today, but and some water. Yeah, I mean, generally the crowds obviously today on Saturday with the speakers and stuff are going to be far bigger. I don't know what is the capacity being increased today, or
the capacity? We're currently sitting at around 1,300 people on site, I believe. There are a few more outside which are slowly filtering in. So that is the kind of figures we're sitting around at the moment. Hopefully we will be able to accommodate all those people that are here, obviously, to hear some kind of well-known speakers.
Yeah, I can't obviously. So I've got the side of the tent in front of me here. I can't actually see the field at the moment, so I don't know where the barriers are getting moved to, or I can't describe it really. I can't even see where the speakers are located at the moment. But I mean, obviously tomorrow we've got to be out quite early tomorrow, 2 o'clock, I think. And are all the delegates going to be leaving prior to 2 o'clock, or?
Yes, my understanding, Neil, is that they will all be leaving prior to that. And obviously you'll be given an opportunity to see all them leave, as you were to see them arrive. So I think you'll have ample opportunity to see them all go, yeah.
Okay. I think there may be some people maybe further along the roads outside the designated area with cameras and stuff to try and capture some of that.
Sure.
I don't think there's much more to say, really, Steve. It's been a pleasure again. I mean, I'll have to say all the police around here have been very helpful, very pleasant. I did actually stand on one police officer's toes at one stage, and I thought I was going to be arrested for assault, but she was a very nice lady, and we're all getting on fairly well. Very well, I would suggest. Let's not be conservative.
Thanks for that, Neil. And let me say it's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I hope that we've set the standard and the pattern for future Bilderbergs, that they should be safe. People should give an opportunity to express their opinions, and that freedom should prevail, and they should have the opportunity to do these things in a safe and dignified environment.
Well, I mean, I hope this is a sign of policing to come, where there's going to be close liaison between the police and, I'm not going to say protesters, police and people who come to voice campaigners or complainers or whatever you want to call them, but not protesters. I'm not protesting anything. I'm here to report what's happening. That's it. Okay, thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks, Neil.
Pleasure.
Nice job. You guys do a good job. Much better than American police.
Thank you.
Much more courteous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not sure if Mark Anderson's actually ready to go on the air, because we didn't have him scheduled in, but we just might spring it. Absolutely perfect, Steve. Thank you very much. So Steve's gone off back to work. He's very busy in the sunshine. Me. Come on, Mark. One second. Can you just do a little bit of Detlef? We're swapping over equipment again. Hello?
Yeah.
Detlef?
Yeah, listening to
Yeah,
you.
okay,
There's a shaky connection sometimes, but we continue.
Okay. Can
So
you just do a
just for your information and for Rick's, so we will have another an hour coming up, right? So we've got plenty of time.
well, we've got an hour, but we've got another 3 or 4 guests to come on, I think.
Yeah, so we've got plenty of time. So just go ahead.
Okay, we have Mark Anderson of the American Free Press. One second.
Yep. Okay. So, for our international audience, we will have another hour here of live transmission broadcasting from Watford here during our United We Strike Radio Marathon, June 8th, 2013. What a story. I mean, we just had a police officer here, reporting about this event, and he's saying he's basically very content with what's happening at the moment. Okay, so whenever you're ready, step in, Neil. Okay.
Okay, we have with us now Mark Anderson of the American Free Press. And for anybody who doesn't know who Mark is, I think we'll just pass straight over to him and he can actually explain what his role here is today.
Testing 1, 2. Am I coming through?
Wonderfully, yes.
Very
Hi,
good.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm here for American Free Press. For those who don't know, it's the leading national news weekly in the United States. And Jim Tucker, for years, for that paper, called AFP for short, became more or less the trailblazer for Bilderberg ever since the very early days of tracking Bilderberg, which was conducted by a columnist by the name of Westbrook Pegler. And then Liberty Lobby, the precursor to the Spotlight newspaper, started watching Bilderberg. And then when the Spotlight newspaper came out, they hired Jim Tucker in 1975. And Jim Tucker left the mainstream press to work for the alternative press, specifically because he couldn't believe a group like Bilderberg could get away with this and not get exposed. So therefore, Jim literally started his alternative news career strictly and specifically because of the Bilderberg phenomenon. And I'm honored in the wake of his passing to carry on his torch as best I can. And we're here in Watford, Bilderberg 2013, doing everything we can to create awareness, get the word out, figure out what they're talking about, and so on. And so I'll continue reading the tea leaves and working my intel and doing everything I have to do in conjunction with people like Neil and the UK column and their people and Liberty Tactics and some other groups, the Sovereign Independent, excuse me, I'm getting my facts straight. I've already been working so hard today. But yeah, it's a nice collaboration of alternative media that's really getting the word out and outshining the corporate mainstream media. So
yeah, it's great to have the benefit of Mark's experience in this, and he's put me straight on a few things on how I should conduct myself, I suppose, in public, rather than being so undiplomatic as I can be, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever your point of view is. But it's been very, very warm here the last few days, and Mark took a rather pleasant trip down the canal today, I believe, on a barge. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, well, Alex Jones, as many know, went down the barge with his loudspeaker yesterday, bullhorn, I guess you call it. And we could have done that today, but instead of doing that, we went on the barge with cameras. You start yelling through the megaphone and they know the lenses are there. And so we were very quiet and we were hoping we'd, of course, see something. We didn't see much. There was some Bilderbergers golfing. We did get some apparent shots of them, but we didn't want to use the same exact approach, but that's the closest you can get to the Grove Hotel when the Bilderbergers are actually meeting. So we scoped it out because we didn't want to not do it and then kick ourselves later and wonder what we may have seen. So we gave it our best college try, as it were. And we did get some pictures of some people that weren't wearing security or police uniforms, a couple guys in suits and some apparent Bilderbergers playing golf. So we'll see how those go. We did get some good photos yesterday, our team, of confirming Hillary Clinton's attendance. That's notable for reasons. I don't know if I'll go into that now. But But yeah, Neil, it was a worthy try, and we do everything we can to get inside the perimeter and see everything we can see. You have to try because you really don't know when they'll let their guard down for even a moment.
Yeah, well, I think we've arranged amongst ourselves to go up there on either Sunday evening or Monday morning, and get into the hotel, try and talk to some of the staff up there who, by this stage, I say, are quite fed up with these characters, shall we call them, to be polite, and may have maybe more free to speak to us once these people have gone, because prior to this, they've all been told that if they speak to the media, speak to anybody going in at the hotel about who was actually coming to the hotel, then they would lose their jobs. Now, a lot of these people working in the hotel are young foreigners who may be students, or they're here actually working just to make a living, and they're scared to lose their jobs because there aren't that many jobs around here. So hopefully they're not too shy after the event to speak to us. And what kind of information would you expect to get from staff regarding these people?
Oh, well, from past experience, one thing you can get from staff, main thing, is to confirm who was there, because a lot of these, not all, but many are household names. And if you say Hillary Clinton, many will say, yeah, and so in the wake of the Spain Bilderberg, they confirmed Bill Gates and a bunch of them, and they even had to leave early. This is a true story. I ate the breakfast they would have eaten. They had a breakfast spread out there, and it was the most incredible food you've ever eaten in your life. I mean, it was just colossal. But they took off the night before, and they just said, just here, just eat this. And we're like, whoa, this is really good. And, staffers can confirm that. We won't go on too much about that. One concern, though, is that the people that worked all weekend might be sent home to have a couple days off right after this is over. So you might have fresh staff in there, and they very well may think of that, to not have the same staff in there Monday as they had on the weekend. I can't imagine they wouldn't think of it, but, a snob does what a snob does, And
there's certainly a few snobs up there. Hopefully we get some staff and some good stories. And as you say, the main thing is the identification of the people that were there, because they're not going to know much about the schedule or the agenda or whatever. But maybe we'll rake through a few bins together and do that. And I have to say, the breakfast you had in that hotel last year, it must have been far better than what you had this morning in our humble little caravan. But that aside, we had a good night last night, a good chat, a couple of beers, and
well, you almost think of a Holmes and Moriarty relationship with these guys, or some sort of James Bond versus Dr. Evil, or something. And maybe they're in there petting white cats, looking out the window, But or one's got a patch on his eye. And, a little lampooning is almost unavoidable when you're dealing with these guys. Some of them do look like something right out of a Bond movie, literally, hi, I'm Platinum Finger, or something. And so, you wonder what kind of impression they've left on the staff. But if we could, we'd literally stay in trees, not just in caravans or camping grounds, to try and do what we have to do. But to get back what you're saying, the perimeter around this thing is so impermeable. And what we were talking about on the barge is what really gores me about it, to get a little more serious now. These are the kind of people that can call an F-14 on the other end of the phone, some of them. I need a jet strike, like 10 minutes, an airstrike. I mean, that's basically literally true. They have military at some of their fingertips, and yet they're worried about a few, and I'm not being derogatory to them, a few peasants with sticks and stones. And, sticks and stones will break my bones, but not even that. We can't get close enough. There is no discernible threat, nor could there be any conceivable threat against that castle-like building here or anywhere. And they keep people so far away from this place, as if people that have the military and police apparatus at their fingertips are in any way going to be threatened in any respect that would mean anything. It really is almost gutturally absurd. It's beyond absurd. They are so far away from being in danger that I can't even think of how you would endanger them if you wanted to, unless you yourself had an F-14. But they're the ones with all the guns. They're the ones with all the badges and the authority at their beck and call. And they're worried about us. See, like you said earlier, who's the true coward? And when you stand on either side of the fence, which side of the fence is freedom and which side of the fence is slavery? Well, they may see us as being on the slave side, but maybe it's them. Maybe they're enslaved by their greed. Maybe they're enslaved by their lust for power, and they don't think they're enslaved, but ultimately they are.
Well, they're enslaved within the system they've created for themselves, and that's all they know, and that's all they understand. And they can't understand us because they have no empathy. They have no human emotion whatsoever with regard to any of their fellow human beings, except their own tightly knit group of 130 people or whatever up there just now, and a few others who aren't here. But I always think these people are jealous of us. We have the full range of human emotions; they don't. So we're the true human race, if you will, to use that word, and they're not. They're outside any realm of humanity that we would understand, and we are the vast majority.
Yeah, you try not to be too derogatory toward them. You kind of catch yourself sometimes, but you can't help but be a little acerbic and a little acidic, because it goes with the territory, just like it goes with the territory that if they want secrecy and they want to also have public position where they have a public function, you can't have both. You don't get that. That doesn't belong to you. Just because you think you have it doesn't mean you do. Just because you have a thought in your head doesn't mean that thought is legitimate. Just because you want something doesn't make it right. I want a lot of things. I'd like 15 new cars, but I don't get them now, do I? So it's just, they think that the mere thought, the mere idea that they desire something justifies itself. I want it. Oh, therefore it must be right. But when you want public position and public responsibility, you don't get the secrecy part. That's not part of the deal. This isn't hot dogs at the fireside or having, graham crackers, chocolate, and marshmallows, s'mores. It's not badminton. It's not, a fox hunt, although they play a little golf. They're talking about serious economic, military, and political matters, especially economic control through their debt-based money system. And so all of this has public responsibility all over it. So you don't get to meet in secret. This isn't a badminton contest. This isn't some sort of private chess tournament or just having a few wines and beers with the wives at the fireside. If they want that, they can do it in their homes, and they can do it without making policy decisions with corporate tiers and media moguls and Donald Graham of the Washington Post CEO there. They can do it without all them there. A few bankers can meet and smoke their cigars and do whatever they want with their mistresses and their wives. And, there's ways to meet private, but this is not the way you do it. And if it was something innocuous, you wouldn't have this kind of security. You'd have, if a queen is worried about her security, she could have a couple soldiers with her. She doesn't have to take the whole town of Watford and flip it on its lid. Bring a couple soldiers. That's your guard. That's your gendarme. Do it right or don't do it at all.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And if that doesn't work, there's always the F-14, I suppose.
Yeah, right. You've got the F-14s. What are you worried about, It's just, it does get infuriating. I'm sorry,
Well, maybe it'll get even more ridiculous next year where they'll have a castle on the hill surrounded by a moat full of piranha. Who knows?
Right. But the piranha go both ways. They'll eat whoever comes out as well as whoever tries to get in.
Exactly.
They don't recognize class or distinction or bank accounts. Matter of fact, never mind.
Yeah, Neil and Mark, we have a question here from a listener.
Okay.
Now, as basically the Bilderbergers are open to the public and mainstream media is reporting on Bilderbergers, now wouldn't it be the next step possible that the mass media, matrix media, now is interviewing the participants of Bilderberger personally, individually, because the list is out, about 140 people. Even if they wouldn't say anything specific, they don't really discuss any specific issues there, do they?
Right.
So what's your take on that? Wouldn't this be the next possible step?
Yeah, you want to do that all you can. In other words, to the extent that you can get access to people that were there individually, that access should be taken and those questions should be asked. we all expect that they'd obey the Chatham House rule and not discuss what was transpiring here at this specific meeting. That being said, the mainstream media's coverage has pretty much wound up, or at least it's relaxed a lot. For this Bilderberg, the mainstream media coverage was a lot like 2 days ago. There was like a spike in the coverage. Neil can correct me if I'm wrong. But then now it's beginning to subside. And not all, but much of that coverage is at least mildly derogatory toward the protesters and anti-Bilderberg people, and a little bit too kind most of the time to the Bilderbergers. There are exceptions, and the degree and the amount of publicity here in Europe against Bilderberg is still far greater than American media, American mainstream media, and we're glad that the European mainstream media does pay more attention. But even though they pay more attention, they tend to pay more attention on who's outside of the fence rather than who's on inside of the fence. But yeah, individuals on the list can and should be questioned. I don't think they'll discuss what's going on here. You can kind of discern from what they do and some of the big changes that happen, and they do release a very general agenda. You can kind of read the tea leaves and get some intel and figure out some of what they talked about. But we got to be careful of the idea that this is becoming a lot more open. It is in the sense of public awareness of Bilderberg. General public awareness of Bilderberg is increasing, and that's good. Sometimes it's a little too biased toward the protesters or the speakers, the campaigners, as the police call them here. But still, it's significant. But the thing is, though, is that we don't want people to lose sense of the seriousness of Bilderberg, and we want them to be aware of it. But we want them to do this in such a way where some sort of change is made. Either the Bilderberg meetings are brought to a halt due to unlawfulness, due to the fact that a lot of public officials break the law to come here. Well, we would want not just transparency and not just more info, as welcome as that is. We want a cessation of this. It really should ultimately stop, is what should happen. And the hand of justice should come down on anyone that broke a law to be here, or anyone that broke a law carrying out a directive from here.
Yeah, I'll concur with what Mark said about the mainstream media. It was very much a spike on Thursday, particularly Thursday morning. And the mainstream people who hear Sky Television, BBC, were very much controlled by what has been deemed the, in inverted commas, official press tent. And the mainstream media was coerced into standing in certain places by certain groups of people. The interview was done, they left. Now, myself and Brian Gerris from UK Column tried on a number of occasions to approach the BBC and Sky Television, who point blank refused to talk to us. So, I mean, do they want the real story, or do they want to spin it off into some kind of concept of making this a normalcy? And the new normal is that Bilderberg meets and they do speak to the mainstream media, apparently. But there's always going to be the spin put on things. And if anybody thinks these guys are going to come down, talk to the BBC, tell the absolute truth, and then the BBC is going to tell the absolute truth, well, I don't know what world you're living in, because it's never going to happen. But yeah, that's what's been happening here in terms of the mainstream media. They're not interested in talking to the alternative media, who's done all the research and who has all the facts behind all this. They want to talk to the people who have ignored this event for 20, 30 years, despite and refused to even admit it existed. So they want to talk to those people who know absolutely nothing about it, and ignore the people who have actually done the research and spent the time, money, effort, and a large part of their lives doing this to expose what is clearly a criminal cabal. I mean, how else would you describe them? A bunch of gangsters who meet every year to decide the fates of the vast majority of humanity. And I think, as Mark says, it has to stop. There's no point trying to bring it out in the open and saying, well, as long as you do this and tell us all about it, tell us who's there, then everything will be all right. No, it won't be all right. These people are criminals and they need to be stopped. And I ain't going to do it by asking them nicely.
Well said, Neil. There's not really much more to add to that. I think we've pretty much went full circle on sort of our assessment of this. And while, yeah, there's a little room for levity, and yeah, the Fringe Festival does call attention to things, attracting people that otherwise might not know about Bilderberg, and that's all a good thing. It's as long as it doesn't just become an ephemeral thing where Bilderberg becomes trivialized. More people know of it, but fewer people or not enough know the seriousness or significance of it. You can know about something, but not know the significance of something. And that's, you got to have both. You got to have the sizzle, and you got to have the more people getting to know about it. But once they know, then they've got to learn more toward this goal of lawbreakers being punished, toward the goal.
I think Mark just broke up again.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little.
I think.
Oh yeah, there are technical problems. Anyone listening, pardon the inevitable technical problems.
Yeah, Mark.
Just repeat the last. Carry on, Dallas. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, Mark. I have a contribution here to pass on to you by Karen Quintosado. She's the founder of the United We Strike initiative, and we are on the United We Strike Radio Marathon today, covering the Bilderbergers.
Oh, yes.
Now, she actually wants to thank you for your input you've done and you've initiated here for United We Strike as well, and putting out the information. She thanks you a lot. And the question is, I mean, how will it go on with the Bilderberger coverage in the future? I mean, you've sort of taken over from Jim.
Right.
How will it go on? How will things go on? From now on. What's your take on that?
Well, the multimedia approach that's now so prevalent with so much live streaming, I mean, through iPhones, through people's camcorders and their hookups, where you can do real-time coverage, that wasn't even present at the 2009, 2010 Bilderberg meetings. It was just becoming apparent then, and now it's all over the place. The big change now is that the alternative media, if you want to call it that, can do things just as fast and just as efficiently as what once was the exclusive domain of the corporate media. So now we can get stuff online instantly. It doesn't all have to be pre-recorded, and therefore things go on faster, more frequently, and in an ever-increasing volume about these things that then remain online, and they're archived and they're updated. And so it creates a whole body of knowledge that is rapidly inflating and expanding about Bilderberg. That's going to be a pretty difficult bubble to burst for people that love to burst economic bubbles. It's really an unstoppable force, just as the truth itself is. And so the media, as you asked, that what I see happening is an ever-expanding citizen journalist corps, a citizen journalist movement that collaborates with people like myself that are part new school, part old school, and others like Neil. And throughout the whole system, we don't always agree with each other. We're not monolithic, but those in the elite system largely are. But we have a much more democratic, kind of multifaceted approach. And with this new technology, I think the light will only get brighter on Bilderberg, and they'll have to change gears in the near future in order to keep their meetings going.
Yeah, and Mark, I mean, you are representing a very important medium. Maybe you can give us your website and your references again.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Mark Anderson, roving editor, American Free Press. The website is americanfreepress.net. If I may be so bold, I want to just mention that those that subscribe for $49, which is $10 off for a whole year, will get Jim Tucker's Bilderberg Diaries book absolutely free. And I'm only mentioning it in memory of Jim. His book, normally $25 for free if you subscribe for $49. And you can go to americanfreepress.net or call 888-699-NEWS. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to, make some sort of cheap pitch there. It's just for Jim, really. And then moving on, I'll just mention that, this is a way for the alternative media to really define itself, not just to expose Bilderberg, but to really become more of the regular media and to displace and to begin to drive out the corporate media, to begin to displace them, to begin to supplant them. They only have strength in numbers. The only reason that they are what they are is they got all these coin boxes at airports and they have the visibility. So everyone sees them as the media. It's a numbers game. It's not their message so much. It's the fact that their newspapers get so widely distributed and their shows are so widely broadcast. With our technology and our means, we're beginning to match some of that because some of those papers and media are declining due to the economy. Their dark cloud is our silver lining. So, there's a lot to be hopeful and thankful for. And we're thankful for good weather here to do what we got to do here. It's tiring and exasperating at times. You don't know whether you're coming or going. I need a two-brimmed hat going each direction at this place. But I'm surprised my shoes are on I'm not sure my pants are on right side in. I'm serious.
All right.
It's just nuts. Is this my camera or did I grab someone else's? All that aside, I'll leave you with a little levity there. I've got to work on some photo files, but I want to thank Neil and you guys for having me on, and tell Karen Tostado I said hello.
Yeah,
and
she's
very good.
Listening. She's listening actually.
Oh yeah,
and,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
This promises to be hopefully a pivotal year. More transparency, yes, but beyond transparency, seeking solutions. Beyond exposure is one of my battle cries. Exposure is not enough. We got to go further. So very good.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks very much,
Neil.
Mark. A pleasure.
Sure. I'm going to pass on the baton here.
We'll be talking to Mark over the next couple of days again and carry on his good work with him. I'm going to pass now on to Liberty Tactics Radio with Lou Collins. And James is coming as well. I think James is coming out. They produce Liberty Tactics Radio here in the UK, an independent radio journalist, I should call her. She's smiling at that. I think that must be true. And we're going to have a guest on Pippa King, who does a lot on RFID in schools. So we've got two mothers talking to each other, and that should be an interesting conversation on the use of RFID technology in schools. So if you just bear with us a minute or two until we get set up, and we'll be getting right on with it.
Yeah, fantastic. Maybe we'll have a quick break here, a quick music break in the meantime.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So why don't we listen to Jordan Page's Liberty, or no, let's take Blood on the Horizon, okay, from Neil Fox. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Join UnitedWeStrike.com radio on the second Saturday of every month for our live international radio marathon. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why.
Say
This is the United We Strike Radio Marathon here, June 8th, 2013, and we are now, reporting from our Bilderberg meeting in Watford, and we have great guests here coming on during the next half an hour. So, Neil, are you there? So,
can
Neil,
you hear me?
yeah. Oh, okay. We can hear you. So just go ahead, please. Introduce yourself. Give us your link, your website, your reference, and then go ahead.
Hi, it's Luke Collins from Liberty Tactics and UK Column.
Go on, Luke.
Yeah, go ahead, please. So, okay.
You can hear us. That's good.
Yeah. Well,
I'm here with Pippa at the moment. We're talking RFID chips. Yeah.
Okay.
Pippa,
so,
you're a mum.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Please give us your report on what you're talking about and what you're working on.
Right. Well, at the moment, we've been reporting live here for the last 3 days with Liberty Tactics, and also teamed up with Pete Santilli over in America, and obviously the UK Column have been here as well. So I'm sort of jumping between roles with Liberty Tactics and the UK Column, and we've been on a barge trip this morning right through the grounds of the Grove. But now I'm in the little tent, and I'm joined by Pippa. Pippa, I've forgotten your surname. Pippa King, and we're going to have a little chat about RFID chips. I'm a mum of 2 kids, 2 young kids. And Pippa, how old are your children?
My children are both 14 and 15 at the moment.
Okay, and what are your thoughts about the new law, the new plans on bringing RFID chipping and fingerprinting into schools?
Well, they started fingerprinting in UK schools in 2001, and in 2012 there was a law that was passed called the Protection of Freedoms Act, and within that law parental consent is needed. But since 2001 up to 2013, schools have been able to take and process and store children's biometrics without telling parents about it. So we've had schools storing biometric fingerprints, they've been infrared face scanning, iris scanning, infrared palm scanning, and infrared fingertip scanning. Basically, the industry has had free reign of the UK school children since 2001, really to 2013. These schools have been testing, or the technology has been tested in schools really to see what is good application of whatever biometric you can use. So, I mean, my children were nearly fingerprinted in 2005. They were 6 and 7 at the time, for a school library system, so they could take books out of the library and the fingerprint identified them. I went up to the head teacher when I saw the fingerprint scanner in the library and said to her, when are you planning on asking the parents for permission to store? That she didn't have to do that, and I was shocked that any government institution or even a private company could take that sort of level of data from my children without letting me know. So, to cut a very long story short, I campaigned and lobbied Parliament from 2006 really through to 2010-11, to try and see if at least we could get, some parental permission involved in this. Because, I mean, in my personal opinion, that technology should be nowhere near schools, nowhere near primary schools or secondary schools. It's complete overkill for the purpose that it's being used for, which is identification to get a library book out, or identification to pay for a school dinner, or registration. We don't use that in adult society. And as parents, the fact that schools are taking biometrics from our children and storing them in databases is so alien to us as an adult society. How can we possibly advise our children on whether or not to do that in a school environment? And it also habitualizes children to surveillance. It's a very high level of surveillance for the purpose that it's used for. So yes, we lobbied Parliament, and interestingly enough, at the time, the Labour government would not engage with us whatsoever in talking about this. As far as they were concerned, schools were allowed to do this. They didn't have any figures on how many children had been fingerprinted, how much public money had been spent on these biometric systems. So that was it. There was a closed door. However, the opposition at the time, the Conservative Lib Dems, were concerned about it and said if they ever came into power that they would introduce a law that would, at least have parental permission, and given their due, they have done. So we have a law coming in effect in September 2013, which schools have to get written permission from parents if they want to store and process a child's biometric data, any child under 18, and they have to be seen to contact both parents. One parent has to give permission to say that the school is okay to do that. But if at any point the child disagrees with this system, the child can override the consent of the parent and actually object to doing this. So it's the first law, I think, globally that deals with children and biometric systems. So we've got 9 million, around about 9.2 million school children, I think, in the UK. In 2007, we estimated that about 2.7 million had been fingerprinted through freedom of information requests that we'd sent out. I think you could easily say that 5 million, if not more, have had experience of putting their biometric data on a database, which, hopefully that won't be as prevalent now that parents hopefully in September, they will become aware and have to give permission for this practice to happen.
How are you feeling? How are parents receiving this legislation? Have you been speaking out to parents, and how are they feeling about it?
Well, I mean, I started a blog when I was campaigning about this, and so quite a few parents come to me via my blog, and so now that the biometric the system's been sold in school, I got a lot of parents and pets sort of getting in touch with me because schools are now asking for permission because they've got a limited amount of time, which is up to the end of July, to get permission. The schools go on holiday for 6 weeks and then they open again September. So the schools have got to get this permission from the parents before September.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I've got 2 small kids, and nothing with my youngest, but my daughter's just started secondary school last year, and there was an option for fingerprinting. I did manage to duck out, but they didn't ask for both parents' permission. I'm absolutely against it completely, but I am concerned when my youngest starts school that we're going to have to. It's not going to be an optional thing, and. I don't know. I personally feel that we need to highlight it in any possible way we can, and parents need to stand up and say, no, we're not going to take this. I mean, what right has the government got to dictate to us how we look after our children and what we do with our children? So, the amount of how many parents have you got following you and supporting you with this campaign, Pippa, approximately?
Well, when we were lobbying Parliament, there was a good 10 to 15 of us that was in constant contact all the time. We had an immense amount of help from No to ID, Privacy International, Action on Rights of Children. The privacy organisations in London were brilliant, and they gave us an into lobbying Parliament, which was a really interesting process. But I get quite a few parents now, let's say, getting in touch, and this is sort of waking them up. They are not aware that these biometrics have been happening in school, and they're absolutely shocked. I mean, I've been living this for the past sort of 8 years, so it's normal to me. But it's so talking these parents through the process and the fact schools are doing this is it's quite. It's hard work, but there is a certain awakening up to what schools are actually doing.
Yeah. I mean, the RFID chipping. I mean, it's just conditioning our children into things to come, and it's just a start of this new world order, whole agenda that they've got planned completely, and people need to really wake up, in my opinion, that this is the beginning of the year. We're already locked down with practically a police state. We're surveyed 24/7 practically. Every time we walk out of our front door, we've got cameras pointing at our faces. We have Tony Blair to thank for that. Whose main idea? Who was it originally who came up with this idea with the RFID chip?
Well, when it becomes law in September for parents to have to give permission, I think what they're going to do is schools are going to find it a cumbersome technology to use, because if some parents don't give permission, the school by law have to have another system in order, like a PIN system, so there's catering for all the children there. So I think with the advent of biometrics being regulated after the school's market, I think that RFID will come in. Now, if you look to the United States, there's been a really brave girl in San Antonio who's refused to have RFID. They use it quite a lot over there for registration purposes. And so she's refused it. And I thought, well, I wonder if RFID is biometric technology in UK schools. So I sent some feeds, and sure enough, I found a school in northwest England that was using active RFID to track their children for registration purposes.
Well, we have an echo there.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we have a pretty bad echo here as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what age group are we looking at? For what age group are they looking at starting at? I mean, kids here, again, are starting school at a ridiculously young age. They're going in at 4 years of age into school. They're having sex education lessons at the age of 6. What age are they looking at doing the fingerprinting and the RFID chips?
Well, the fingerprinting has been happening to children as young as 6 years old. That was more prevalent, I think, in sort of 2004, 5 and 6. However, now they're using it more in high schools. I think the older children are more open to the technology, and the parents aren't as annoyed, I think, if older children are using it. But with children, you've got to be careful, I think, because they've been brought up in this technological world of baby monitors right from the day they're born, and electronic toys, toddler toys, mobile telephones, television remote controls, and they have all this technology. And then I think when the school introduces biometrics or RFID, how can they discern whether or not that's an appropriate technology to use? It's a technology, they just embrace it. So I think it's really good that parents are getting the choice now whether or not their children can participate in biometric systems. But I think with the RFID, as I say, we've just found this 14 to 19 college that's introduced it on a lanyard around the children's neck for registration purposes. Now that RFID has been in place at that college since 2010, and I rang the Information Commissioner's office to see whether or not they knew this technology was being used in schools, because as far as I was aware, knowing the schools market, I couldn't. This is the first instance, apart from one instance in 2007 where a school in Bradford had trialled, a school in Doncaster had trialled some active RFID sewn into school blazers, but that quickly stopped when there was an outcry in the privacy sort of area. But yes, this college has been tagging the kids since 2010, and there's a sort of shadowy area of where consent lies in this. I sent the school a freedom of information request asking how they'd gained consent from the children, and they just simply informed me that consent, they informed the students at enrolment. Whether or not that's classed as informed consent, I don't know, but there's a complaint at the minute with the Information Commissioner's Office, who oversees the Data Protection Act, as to whether or not that was deemed as consent. But I think this ubiquitous RFID technology will be used in schools. And why would you use a biometric technology when it only gives you where one student is at one point in time? This RFID technology gives you where everybody is at every point in time. These teachers or the administrators of the college were literally looking at a computer screen and seeing green blobs move around in it, just like a Harry Potter's Marauders map. They could see when the children were going, presumably, to the toilet, to the school nurse, to the showers. And the problem with RFID is that at any one point in time it only tells you where the chip is. So a child could be off premises, the chip could be on premises, and you've got a potentially dangerous situation for that child. You've also got, if the child knows it's being tracked, you've also got the sort of problem of if the child's got an issue and it wants to go to a school nurse, if it's aware that it's being tracked, would it still go to the school nurse? Anecdotally, when I was speaking to parents about the biometrics, they would say, there's CCTV in the toilets, and my son or daughter won't use the toilet all day at school because of the CCTV in the toilet. So surveillance, children being surveilled, affects behaviour. We have no way of quantifying or knowing what an effect of putting an RFID chip around a child's neck has on that issue. I mean, apart from all the privacy and civil liberties, it's just such an invasion of privacy. I just can't think of another technology that would be more invasive than something around your neck. But as I say, apart from all the privacy and civil liberties, health issues about frequencies and Wi-Fi in schools and RFID. I mean, these chips at this particular college were frequencing at 6.35 to 6.75, I think, gigahertz. Now that's just above Wi-Fi. The chips that they were wearing were emitting a signal for 100 meters, 300 feet. They were pinpointing that child to an accuracy within 1 meter. And I mean, this is a type of technology that if you do not consent to it and you get an option not to consent, even going into the school that's using that technology, you'll still be having that frequency. So there's big movement at the moment to sort of ban Wi-Fi in schools, and these, which is absolutely admirable, and I completely understand that that's an issue. But yes, ban Wi-Fi, but also what you need to do then is look at the potential technology that will, I think, come into schools, which is RFID chips.
Yeah, actually, Pippa, I was about to mention about the health issues, because we deal a lot with Mike from stopsmartmeters.co.uk, and these are one of the major concerns. And I mean, having these things implanted into our children, as well as the infringement of our privacy, it's the actual health issues as well. So the families being sold that it's in the interest of the safety of their children. Is this the way it's being sold, I presume, to parents, to get your children implanted with an RFID chip, because there's so many dangers out there, so many bad people out there. I mean, at the moment, from the work I've been doing with the UK column, the danger is coming from within our government and our social services. That's the area the main danger is coming from. I mean, we only need to look at recently over here in the UK, the Elm Guest House, the amount of children being trafficked and sold to paedophiles through these children's homes. So as far as I'm concerned, in my own opinion, this is a dangerous way, a real dangerous way to go. And your thoughts on that, Pippa?
Absolutely agree. I mean, if you've got a predator that has access to where a child is with an accuracy of 1 meter at any one point in time, that's a vast amount of information, and I, as a parent, would not consent on behalf of my child to having that done. As far as I'm aware, the parents of the children that have been tagged in the college are not aware of that. So, as I say, there's the cases at the moment with the Information Commissioner's Office. As I say, it's the first case I think there is in the UK of this type of technology in schools. So we'll see how it goes. And I think if schools are going to use this technology, let's not have a repeat of what happened with the biometrics. The biometric industry had free reign of 9 million kids every year to test the good application of their biometric technology. I do not want the same thing to happen to the UK's school children with RFID. If you're going to use it in schools, look at the health benefits apart from anything else. That is the top priority. Our children need to be safe, they need to be kept healthy. And then if you need to use this technology and there's no alternative that will work, well, let's face it, there is, because schools have been working quite well without RFID and biometrics. We need to have an absolute thorough consultation period to see whether or not this technology is acceptable and fit for purpose and actually appropriate to use in schools.
Pippa, I have to sign out now because I've got to go on broadcast for UK for Pete Santilli. So I'm just about to wander around and speak to some people. But thank you so much. And Pippa, what website can people go to follow up if they want to look into what you're doing?
Yeah, my Biometrics in School website is pippaking.blogspot.co.uk, which was a record and a blog really of the progress that we had sort of lobbying Parliament and the progress there, which quite a lot of parents sort of find if you type in biometrics in schools into a search engine. RFID is against RFID in schools. So if you Google that, you'll find that. But the web address is rfidinschools.com.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. So I don't know, is Neil around?
No, Neil's gone to go and get some fuel for our generator because we've got a massive, great big 3 kVA generator powering all of our equipment in the in our press tent that we've got here. So,
good.
So I'm holding the fort now. So pretty much our entire setup is typical of what we've been doing in the past and is held together with rubber band and duct tape. But we do look very organised.
Well, that's pretty good, you know. Congratulations, anyway. So thanks a lot. I mean, the interviews so far were pretty good. Yeah, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, can I just thank you for having me on, because I think it's really important that parents sort of get to know what technology is being used in schools, and I appreciate being able to talk about it at this festival. I mean, these are the people that are sat opposite us in this tent that are sort of, this is in their interest. In whose interest is it to have these technologies in schools and to habitualise the next generation into being surveilled? You know, in whose interest is that? It's not in my interest. I don't think it's in the child's interest. So this is a really apt setting to discuss this type of technology. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And fine, you had the time to be on our show. Yeah, and this is the United We Strike Radio Marathon here, June 8th, 2013. Live reporting from Watford in Hertfordshire in England, close to London, close to the Bilderberger meeting, which is taking place next half a mile away from this tent journalism. Half a mile away is the luxury hotel where all the Bilderbergers are playing golf. No, they're discussing important issues. Or do they just drink some coffee? We know what they're doing. But the public has to wake up and they have to learn what their plans really are. And so far we've learned that there are a lot of matrix media present. So at least there is a certain attention getting towards such a meeting like Bilderberg, which was always said it is a conspiracy theory. Now they have to admit it actually really takes place, and this since 1954. All right. So, okay, Rick, what are the next steps? Do you have another guest coming up, or what's the issue there?
Well, we've filled up till about 4:30.
Yep. Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, well, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
no, in terms
we
of our
filled up
program.
guests up till about 4:30.
Okay. So that's fine.
I think we got a bit of a delay there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we filled up to guests. So we've got no more guests with us at the moment, because I was running out pulling guests in while Neil was talking, and I was also fixing all the technical glitches at the same time.
Sure.
So at the moment, I'm holding all the technical glitches, and I can't go out and get guests.
Yeah, no, of course, no. That's but maybe you can give your impression if you've got some spare moment. What is going on? I mean, we've learned there are lots of people up there, and there's a lot of things going on, which is sort of a distraction, really. Next door. Is that still the case, or are people actually waking up towards the Bilderberger issue, or are they just, doing their fringe festival?
Someone's come on and do an absolutely awesome speech while we're on the radio, but we can't really move away from our station, obviously, because of the tent.
Yeah.
And, Tony Goslin is down there giving everybody a bit of an education lesson. I mean, it's intense. There's about 1,000 people here. I mean, there's probably more than 1,000 people, to be honest. And there's about another 500 people outside, and it's very well attended.
Yeah, so that is amazing. I mean, I've seen the coverage of other Bilderberger meetings, and this one seems really to be one of the more successful ones in terms of people attending and also media coverage. I mean, Mark Anderson actually told us about it, that his impression is similar, that now actually the word gets out. Doesn't necessarily mean people are aware of the issues and the shadow government, which is actually taking place at meetings like that. We don't know. Okay, so
Well, I think most people I've spoke to so far seem to be cottoned on to the fact as to what's going on. We've got a couple of lists here that have come down and expressed an interest in what we're doing. So there's some newcomers here, some people coming to learn as well, which is a good sign. There's a lot of applauding. I don't know if you can hear that in the background now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of support for what the people are saying on the stands as well, which is fantastic.
Good. Now, I'm asking, is Janie still around, or is she in the crowd?
Oh, she'll be in the crowd, but I'm sort of propping it all up on me, and I've got to switch over computers as well now, because this one's dying. Your voice is coming through really, really slow. It's kind of hard for me to put together.
Okay, so that's fine. So just go ahead and solve your technical issues. In the meantime, we are progressing here on our United We Strike Radio Marathon, which is going around the world as usual, once a month, every second Saturday. We are doing these United We Strike Radio Marathons since years already. So it has been established quite some time ago, and we have learned and experienced quite some interesting times. And this is so important. I mean, this is what Mark Anderson basically pointed out earlier on, that now the technological revolution takes place, and everybody is basically able to broadcast from an iPad or from a mobile phone almost. So everybody can do something and can broadcast and can put the message out. And this is a unique opportunity for all of us. And stations like the UWS Radio, ICN Radio Network, Wake News Radio, and Milane-FM.net and Joyce.net are simulcasting this show right now, and there will be more coming up, and there will be even more interesting topics and guests starting pretty soon. So on top of the hour, we will have the next program with Bert Freeman with the topic, Are You a Free Man? And he is then talking about all the legal and lawful issues. And we will then continue with a roundtable discussion where Karen Quintestato, the founder of United We Strike, is joining in, and we will have other team members discussing the issues. And then we will have lots of other interesting points. And if you're interested in learning about the program, you can visit our website, unitedwestrike.com, and push the UWS radio and chat, and then you get to the program as such. And there's a chat room as well, so you can log in and chat with others. You can easily find us. Okay, now we'll see how far we are. Rick, did you manage to switch computers?
Yeah, I've just switched computers, but the other one has completely failed. So I'm back on this one again.
Yeah.
So we're limping. I think a lot of people are streaming. I think somebody's just got on the stage, but I can't kind of see what's going on. There was a lot of cheering, so I don't know whether everybody's just tapped into the live stream or what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean,
here at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the stream is breaking up once in a while, but still, I mean, we get enough.
Hang on 2 seconds. I've got to go and pull another lead a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we have this live feed directly from Watford here in Hertfordshire, in the surroundings of London. And, our people down there are actually reporting live from the scene, from the Bilderberger meeting. They are standing there, and broadcasting from a tent about half a mile away from the luxury hotel in the Grove, where the Bilderbergers are meeting. So, we've learned a lot of interesting things, and we will have a lot more coming up soon. We have to solve some of the issues here, the technical issues, but, we'll keep the contact up here. Now, we've been, so...
I've just switched computers again. I'm now on the portable, so the time might go. I think this is about all I can broadcast at the moment. But Bill Mahoney was just on the stage, so I think a lot of people were. Bill Mahoney was the guy we had on first of all.
Yeah. Can you identify who was speaking, or?
No, we've now got Ben Fellows on the stage.
Ah, Ben Fellows. Okay.
Ben Fellows is now on the stage.
Right.
So I would certainly suggest that anybody who doesn't know what's going on, by the time they've heard this story, they'll probably want to be out for blood, I expect.
All right. So that's a lot of cheering and a lot of noise in the background. So they're listening to Ben Fellows right now. Fine. That's interesting. So, yeah, whenever you are ready.
Over the last 3 days, we've had the field reasonably well attended. It's not been too bad. But today, I mean, you just can't move. It is unbelievable. And there's still people coming in. I'm just going to go and have a look, see if there's still a queue outside.
Yeah.
There's still a queue outside. There's
All right.
But we've got some stalls. Some people have come in now. The Grove Hotel was supposed to supply water for us. That was agreed with the liaison officers right at the very beginning. I don't know if Neil mentioned that earlier, but right at the last minute they pulled the plug. So potentially now you've got 1,000 people in here on a really hot sunny day with no access to water. If you want to go and get water, you have to go out through the checkpoint at the front. And then you've got to walk 2 miles to the nearest shop. And then you've got a queue in of presumably 400 people to get back in. I don't know how big the queue is. Hopefully when Neil comes back, he might give us some indication on how many people are out there. But the last time I heard, just 500.
Go ahead.
The only refreshments that we've got on site. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're on.
Yep. The only refreshment that's currently on site at the moment, we went and bought 6 trays of water. We were handing water, right, and we were selling the water for 50p to cover the price of the water and the petrol and the generator. We're charging as many people. Pretty much anybody who comes up and asks us to charge the battery, we're covered. We're charging batteries at an enormous pace. But yeah, our water supply is pretty much dwindled now. So there's another tent that was giving the water away the other day, just over on the other side. There is a chap from the British Constitution Group and World Natural Health, and he's come down. He's made a load of food, and he's been giving food out for free for the last couple of days. But I would suspect, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little, Rick. Yeah, you're breaking up a little, yeah.
So it's probably a lot of hungry, thirsty people in there.
So there's a basic supply problem, really, a supply issue, and they have not they have basically imprisoned you, sort of. And you cannot move, and you cannot buy anything unless you take a long walk. I mean, this is incredible. Did you park your car somewhere outside, or? I can't reach you now. I think it's a difficult connection currently. Yeah. Okay. People. Yeah. So yeah, you're back again. Yeah, it's a little weak here.
Yeah, I think we're skipping in and out.
Yeah. So I mean,
reliable. I might ask you if you can hold the fort a little while. Move some bits and pieces out, I think.
Yeah, we're keeping the contact here. We're keeping the broadcast line open, the connection, but it is a very poor connection currently. So we're not reading you too well.
We're running on 3G. I mean, the setup we've got is remarkable how we're achieving. We're running 3 Skype calls on 3 separate computers. We've got a mobile phone acting as a personal hotspot on one computer, which we were originally running 2 computers on, and that kind of crapped out on us. So. Luckily, as I said, a chap gave us another phone to use as our hotspot. So they were both running the 2 PCs, and we're running an iPad with a Bluetooth headset, which is what I'm talking on now.
Yeah.
And it's quite successful, you know. I mean, if people were to mirror our operation at every other Bilderberg event, you know, what a success it would be. But still. I suppose the mobile phone mast here is not helping everybody's tapping into it. So,
yeah.
On the other hand.
Yeah. So I'm amazed, you know, how you can manage this, you know, with the technical things. I mean, basically they wouldn't like you to report anyways about the Bilderberger meeting, so they will. Yeah, but you're saying they're bringing in some water from the hotel, or is that?
No. The Grove Hotel were supposed to supply water, but right at the last minute they pulled the plug and said no, screw them.
Okay. So that's cancelled, sort of. Wow, that's quite an issue.
Yeah, I mean, someone's a chap was just stood next to me just then, and he said, "Has anybody mentioned the water issue?" So we have brought this up with the police liaison officers, and they have taken it up with the Grove. But it's the Grove's. It's the Grove's property. It's the Grove's call. So I suppose it's just a miracle we're even here in the first place. To be honest.
Yeah. So will you send somebody to purchase some supplies or some food and water, or how are you going to tackle this?
We've as I say, we've been dealing with the police for 3 weeks on the lead up to this, and we've been working quite closely with the liaison officer Stephen Tor. To the extent we went to a press conference on the Monday before Bilderberg. And they were dead over. They were more than anything they could do to help us. They would do. Throughout the entire event, I don't know what it's been like outside the event. I don't know how the officers have interacted with the public out there, but certainly inside the actual event itself, they've been absolutely brilliant. And I think a lot of them are kind of surprised what they're being told by their superior officers and what's actually going on the ground. I think we're actually turning heads and winning support within the police force as well.
Wow.
But unfortunately, it's the Grove's call. So as far as we're not supposed to bring, and I've just found there's another school here as well now. There's a chap here serving tea. So that's all good.
I said, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. Yeah, you can always, you can almost listen to what he's saying. He's loud enough. So, yeah, okay.
Well, we were told originally that we're on the public consultation on Monday. The public were told sort of one thing. They were told they were rather concerned about a number of issues. Sorry, it's hard to concentrate when someone else is talking so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were quite concerned about noise, what the noise levels were going to be like, and everybody from the opposite press tent assured them that we wouldn't be using any amplified sound.
Yeah.
But it seems that they've managed an amplifier down here now, and it's good. I'm glad. I think that's a good news.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, I just received an information here from Karen. She's actually available, and she would like to join in, if that's okay with you, Rick.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try whether we get the connection here. So Karen, if you're listening, we'll drag you in here as well. So let's see. Okay. So yeah, that's an amazing speech here, huh?
Yes, I can't quite cotton on what he's saying because I've got the headphones on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out if he's got dead air or what's going on. Hey, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, I am just so proud of everybody today. What a monumental effort, and good to everyone there on the ground. Yay to hear from Janie and Rick. Wouldn't have been the same without you, bro.
Well, I sometimes think if half of this would even work without me, the way we were broadcasting a second ago, because as Janie and you'll see on the video, I'm constantly plugging things out, working around and pulling it all together, and just it was quite a task to say the least. But as far as all the producing I've ever done for United We Strike, I would certainly say that would be the most difficult. We do have Luke Rudolsky who's coming and sat in our tent. He might want to come on the radio and
Great. See if he does.
He's shaking his head now, like I think he might. If I'll tell you what, Luke. If I give you the headphones, you just want to say a few words. Go on.
Oh, he's doing it anyway. Is this the radio now? What is this?
Yeah.
Hi, this is United
We're here at
Strike.
Bilderberg. Yeah, we're here in Bilderberg 2013 in beautiful Watford. Surely it's an amazing sight to see. I've never seen as many people here as I did ever in any Bilderberg protest. I've been covering them for a number of years. I've been studying and learning the history, and I've never seen so many people, literally thousands and thousands of people here from all walks of life, from all different continents and countries. It's just a really, really overwhelming sight. There's so many people here. It's so many great speakers. So many people here who just want to bring attention and light to the secretive and dark Bilderberg group. So it's pretty fascinating, and it's really just a beautiful sight to see here.
Man, Luke, it's great to have you. This is Karen from United We Strike. You're on the United We Strike Marathon. We are still plugging along.
Yeah, we're still plugging along here. There's lots to do. The sun is very hot, but the energy is really high. And it's just fascinating. So many great people here. David Icke is going to be speaking soon. Alex Jones. I kind of have to go and get my live broadcast ready in a little bit. I'm taking a little break. And then I was given these headphones to talk to you. I actually got to get ready for my live broadcast myself that I'm going to be doing on my Ustream channel. So
All right,
it's just
give everybody your Ustream address so they can watch it as well.
It's ustream.tv/wearechange. If you want to get the notification live when it happens, when anything ever breaks, I always post it on my Twitter. So the best way to just find that link, and the best way to find out when I'm live today and any other day and any other time something breaks is definitely twitter.com/Luke We Are Change. Luke We Are Change on Twitter. That's the best way to find out the live video feed. I will be live, and you can hear my jaggering and babbling on there.
All right, thank you. Also want to plant seeds, Luke. We're encouraging peaceful resistance and strikes and boycotts over the weekend of the 4th of July. Check it out. Let's work together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Best of luck for everything.
Good on
Thank
you, man.
you.
I didn't well, you should get a break. I haven't had a break in 3 days. Hello.
All right,
Hi, Karen.
great going.
Right. Yeah, no, he's super. The reason we've even got a live stream channel at the moment is Luke sat down with me on Thursday when we got here and showed me how it all works. The only thing that kind of threw us a little bit was the fact that we're using the phone to do the live stream to hook up the computers on the with the radio. So that's why we're not live streaming at the moment.
Yeah, kind of, and lack of bandwidth too, I imagine, with everybody there pulling from the same source. Now, one thing
various sources with it, but yeah, go on. I've already gone through that with the radio. I won't bore everybody with the technical details again.
Yeah, well, what I was glad to do, and maybe you can follow up there, is to plant the seeds again of global peaceful resistance in terms of strikes and boycotts over the 4th of July weekend, because we're not celebrating freedom. What we're doing is celebrating feedom. We have to pay for everything. We are not free. And imagine the power of keeping our money from them, doing our own celebration on the 4th of July instead of paying governments who are lying and abusing us.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch most of that, Karen, unfortunately. Something about the 4th of July. I was assuming that was just another strike day.
On the 4th of July, along with some other groups, including Dr. Ilya, Sandra, Perley, and Jerry, we're calling for a 4-day strike. The 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Well,
Keep the money out.
That's good. If we build the numbers on that, that would be fantastic. But I think this feels like the start of something on this event. I don't know what the mainstream what's the mainstream press been saying? Because we've been kind of locked in a little cocoon here. Well, we've probably done over 100 interviews, and we're going to be putting these together. So we've really been focused on what we're doing here, and I don't know what the mainstream press is saying. So if you could fill me in, that would be great.
I'm not seeing a whole lot of coverage from them, but I tell you, to keep the momentum going, yes, if we plant seeds now, 4 days, peaceful resistance, keep your money, drop their profit over the 4th of July. Let's really make globally our presence felt. We outnumber them, and those listening have heard how they're RFIDing your children without your knowledge or consent. They're poisoning us with chemtrails. There is definite proof that these are harmful policies.
Neil Foster's just come back. I'm going to pass the radio over to him, and he can tell you what the condition is outside Bilderberg a second.
Well, I've just actually come in with Alex Jones. Hello, is that Karen?
Hi,
Hello?
Neil. Great
Hi,
job.
How are you doing? Right, I've just
Doing
actually
well.
come through the front gate. Alex Jones and apologies for watching you, Chris. And outside the parking is atrocious. It's everywhere. I've just handed Ricky cigarettes, so there's a collection, a heap on the floor here. The sitting room only.
Wait, Neil, it's hard to hear you right now. Can you hear me?
My voice is shot. My voice is not too good because I've been talking too much all week, but I'll do it best. I don't know what more to say, Reece. Maybe we can give you an update later on. But at the moment I need to go because we've got to put some more fuel in the generator. Is that okay?
So there's an update. There's 2,000 people.
Okay, there are now 2,000 people. It's just been confirmed by the police liaison officer. 2,000 people at the event so far.
Yay! 2,000 people. That's awesome.
I'll get back in, all right.
Okay.
I'll
left my phone in there. Okay, so yeah, that's the latest update. Straight from the police liaison officer, 2,000 people actually at the event in 13 Bilderberg.
And they're that good, they've said if we get stuck out there because they're not letting anybody else in,
we
we just give them a call, they'll come and get us and let us straight back in.
We got a police escort in because we're such nice people. Okay, so that's me saying right just now because, as I say, we have to go and fill up the generator with some fuel. Okay?
Okay, again, it's kind of hard to...
Yeah,
we hear the bullhorns in the background, or else is that a program going on in another area there?
It's somebody on the microphone giving a very vehement speech to the crowd. So signing off for now. We'll have an update later on. But if my voice holds out, we'll be all right. But if not, then
all right.
we'll do it.
Neil, you'll have time if you want. In a half an hour, we can come back and get an update if you're around.
Okay, well, I think Alex Jones is going to talk at 5 o'clock, so maybe it's not the best time. Maybe wait for maybe an hour. How's that? An hour and a half. Okay, no problem. Catch you later.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. And Rick, if you are listening,
I'm here. Yep.
We should keep an open stream with you, but we will have another guest up on top of the hour with Bert, but we keep in contact, right? And yeah, so we keep the line open with you, if that's okay, so we can possibly have another chat later on. Okay.
Not a problem.
Yeah,
and
fine.
if you see Janie,
yes,
if you can get Janie back.
Yep.
Yeah, well, she could join us in our roundtable, right, Karen?
Yeah, she can join in another 35 minutes because Michael Bodnarek is giving a Constitution class today, and I'd like to thank him for all of his support for these United We Strike marathons throughout the year. He will not be able to make it, so we're going to meet Jules from UCY.TV, who is also currently streaming the marathon and possibly will be doing so in the future. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bilderbergers, and we'll get whoever we can on. As an aside, here on the 22nd, it was the 33rd anniversary of the Georgia Guidestones. Laid out right there, carved in stone, what these people are planning today.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, they are planning ahead of time, sometimes generation wide, planning, and they introduced this now, what they have planned, years ago, ages ago, right?
They have 10 precepts here, 10 goals. And I would like to share those with the listeners, if that's all right with you, Detlef.
Yeah, we've got another sort of 2.5 minutes up to a break, so we should make use of it. Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, the Georgia Guidestones actually, they were erected on March 22nd, 1980. There are a few details known about who funded or orchestrated the project, aside from the pseudonym R.C. Christian, which is listed as the author, or who is listed as the author on the monument. Now, they are in Elbert County, Georgia. They're also known as the American Stonehenge. It's a gigantic structure, almost 20 feet high, made of 6 granite slabs, weighing in total 240,000 pounds. The most astonishing detail of the monument is, however, not its size, but the message engraved into it, 10 rules for an age of reason. Now, right now I'm reading from an article that was posted on the intelhub.com. And if you want to go there, you can check out the 33rd anniversary. But the tenets are, number 1, for the specific goals, to maintain humanity at under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 500 million, folks. How many of us are there now? 7 billion? Over 7 billion? Hear these words I'm saying, because the list sounds benign until you understand that if they only want 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature, that means that their job of war, of chemtrails, of vaccines, of poisoning and altering our food through genetic manipulation, they're doing a damn good job of exterminating us with our help. We've got to wake up to this. Number 2, they want to guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. How many of you out there are having fertility problems? It's not an accident. They're genetically manipulating us in every way fathomable. 3, unite humanity with a living new language. As they eviscerate all of our countries, our languages, our past, what they are doing is bringing about the kind of people they want. Just like in Germany during the Second World War, they wanted blonde, blue-eyed people. They want the strong white Aryan race, and they're going to pit all the other colors against themselves. Number 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. This is the same kind of tempered reason that's affecting the schools with Leave No Child Behind, where no one is learning, and there's self-vested interest, and the different federal grants keep our children from learning, while we instead turn them into robots who will only learn to memorize, to be able to recite what they learn, and fight for the state. School-to-work programs, folks, think about it. 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Well, we can see what kind of fair and just law right now is around, because those are the courts that they're promoting. And it's justice, which means just us, the elite, the evil, lying, inbred, traitorous eugenicists who are behind this, who have the money, who are infiltrating every single solitary country and all of our governments. 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Well, again, that sounds real nice, but when you understand that even your local fair laws, supposedly, are still ruled by these same people, you know that this is not for our good. 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. Well, right now, if we just embrace that one law, we could turn our world around, because all of these laws are petty, and we've got useless officials who are murdering other people and other cultures all over the world and stealing our money to do it. Balance personal rights with social duties. That's number 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. Well, the only social duty we really have is to not harm one another, and to know that violence is only, and I repeat, only necessary when you're defending. avoid petty laws and useful officials, you bet. That would really take us back. Okay, Detlef, I see we've got to go to break. Sorry, I'm running over here. I'll come back with the 3 on the other side. Or actually, at 9:30. We got to get Bert right now in, who is a free man who will tell you about it. Back to you, Detlef.
Yeah, okay, we're breaking now and see you after the...
Why do we sit down when all should be standing? And why do we back down at the critical moment, like running away from the waves of the ocean? We head for the hills with the high tide approaching, as sand slips away from the castle. When it's time to stand upright, why do we falter, like placing our freedom on the sacrificial altar? We hold tight to our fears and defend our oppressors, as we fight for their lives and become the transgressors, as pacifists transform to violent aggressors. But I'm only a stranger here. I'm a long, long way from my home, and they say I can't change all the things I find strange. For what can one man do alone? They say, what could one man do alone? When is the right time to stand up for freedom? Could it be when you start to feel creating children who'll inherit the pain and the debt of this nation, and be slaves to the banks that cause hyperinflation, who are masters of commerce, lies, and bad legislation? Oh, if you looked in the eyes of 1,000 young children through fences of razors, their innocence stolen, as the red flag of tyranny flies in the open, is that when you'll finally notice? Whoa, but I'm only a stranger here. I'm a long, long way from my home, and they say I can't change all the things I find strange. For what can one man do alone? Is what can one man do alone? I'm only a stranger looking to find better nature in my fellow man, but they keep telling me it's a sin to be free, and that's more than I'm willing to stand. Where will you be when the order is given to censor your mind, as free speech is forbidden, as martyrs for peace from the